Hello and welcome. It is episode 5 of the WhiskyTube Roundtable. I'm Jeff Whisky, honoured to be hosting it this month. I did agree to do this a month ago before I decided to plaster my face and do so many live streams already this month. So hopefully you're not fed up of it. Understand if you are, you can turn the screen off. If this is your first taste of like WhiskyTube Roundtable, Vin started it via his Discord. And it's like a platform where us whiskey tubers can kind of chat about different whiskey topics. We've done talked about English whiskey, done blind tasting. I think at one point we had 8, 9 of us just sharing our whiskey tube stories. So yeah, honoured for number 5. This is where it all goes downhill. So thank you all for joining me today. Tonight is also the night where I've got a new microphone. So if I've been rabbiting on for a minute or so and you can't hear me, do let me know. I've got YouTube running on one side now, so I can see your comments. But I think first, thank you for being here, and let's dive in. So we've got people coming in early doors. Let's see if I can show you the stars one. So straight off the bat, Stephen, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. And we also have another one, Tim. Thank you. Welcome to the Bottle Slap Club. You've got like access to more emojis now. I'm going to try and make more perks with it, but you know, I'm not the best, but I'll try and give you my 99p's worth. Let's go back to the comments. So there's added pressure tonight because someone's sitting in the green room and I can feel the eyes judging of like the comment management. So I'm going to try my utmost. That is the StreamYard comment. We don't need to share that one. So we've got Helen and Andy. I thought of you today as I had too much curry for tea, so I'm going to pay for that tonight. So many people in. David Owen, great to see you. Rob Smith, thank you for being here. You got Whiskey and Molly, Tim. We got Roy making the most of his new emojis. Unfortunately, it doesn't display via this, but I think you all know what that means. We've got Greg's Whiskey Guide. So many people, so thank you all for being here. Gav's Drams, great to see you, buddy. Well, I say that, I'm not in your garden watching you, but thank you for watching me. Just sounds just as weird. So on that, I think it's about time I start talking about what we're all doing here today, or what I've got you watching me do and putting other people through. Tonight, the goal is to have 4 wonderful whiskey tube folk, which I couldn't get, but we'll do with what we got. And they're going to battle it out and put forward their picks for 1 bottle per Scotch region. This was a challenge that I did maybe 6 months ago. It's kind of all of a blur. And the case of that is the rules are simple. You get 1 bottle per region. You could pick, say, if a bottle was what you really felt was the star of that region, something that truly represents it, or maybe just your favorite from that area. It could be a complete wild card. But I'm going to break the rules because, you know, bad boy, shirt, shades. This is what punk rock looks like in 2024. But it's going to include Highlands, Speyside, Lowlands, Islands, Campbeltown, and Islay. So yeah, I'm including the islands separately. You know, let's milk this as much as I can. And got another new member, the Ginger Genius. Thank you for being here. I'm sure you'll discover that I'm not a genius. I'm not ginger either, but I'm glad to have you representing that target market, that target demographic. So I think before I bring people in, actually, I'm going to talk about, so the winner is going to be decided via polls. So I've kind of just done a test run where I'm going to do a poll on YouTube. And then in the live comment section, I'm going to put people's names, I think, instead of the bottles. Or I might do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll see how lazy I am. And it's just a case of you pick which bottle you think is best, or not necessarily what bottle, but you put forward what marketing, what seller. So say if someone really sold you a bottle, say someone picked Jura 10, you know, great whiskey, and they really impassionately provoked your heartstrings with it. And yep, you're sold on that, select that one. So I think I'm going to bring in guests. Is everyone ready? I can't tell. I'm going to pick people who I think look like they're half asleep. So that could be anyone right now. I'm going to first pick in, starting with a man who likes to refer to himself as a bear and is the whiskey Santa whose lap we all want to sit on, Jim the whiskey novice. How are you? You're currently muted. There you go.
There we go. Do you know what I'm actually trying to do, Jeff? I'm trying to join your channel, and for some reason my bank won't let me. So
I
what does that tell you?
that sums it up, doesn't it? No, don't do that. Don't throw that 99p away, mate.
Oh no. I will. I'll get that sorted later on. I'll get that
Don't worry
sorted.
about that.
How are you, friend?
Well, very good. How are you? Your first visit onto the round table.
It is. Thank you for asking me. It's good to be here. I'm actually drinking something here that I didn't even pick today. I just grabbed a bottle out of the cabinet. It's nothing to do with tonight's challenge. I just thought one for me, one for my mate Jeff. It's one from Campbeltown. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but it's not a bottle that I've picked tonight. It's just something a bit random.
Keeping the suspense going.
Yes, thank you for asking me, buddy.
Well, very grateful to have you here. As this is your first appearance onto the round table, everyone, if they know me, they know you. But are you able to just give a nice summary of what it is you do?
What it is I do? Oh, that's a dark and muddy pool there you're into. So a bit like yourself, I'm a reviewer, and I love my whiskey. As our friend Roy Duff would say, whiskey promiscuous. I like to try whiskey from anywhere. I will not dedicate myself to one particular kind of whiskey, and I think more people should be the same. There's so many whiskeys, so many great whiskies in the world. We all need to be trying what we can, and just for the love of it, and that's what it's all about.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to put it. You would have brought me to tears, but it's a bit too early in the night for that. So thank you for being here. Next, I'm going to fly on down to a man who's in a constant legal battle with a well-known glue company and OG whiskey tuber, Vin from No Nonsense Whiskey. Good evening.
How are we doing?
Yes, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. A fine Tuesday evening, straight after a bank holiday. So suitably tired as always. Always on these streams, I am tired.
Yeah. What you need, I've got a secret backup here, which is a labelless bottle, which is what my daughter's finally got over chickenpox, and that's what's kept me going over the last week. So I'd refer to it as mystery juice, but we don't need to go into that far. But I don't think I need to give you an introduction, Vin. I think you're the man behind the round table. I don't know, is it King Arthur? Who's the king of the round table mythology?
Well, that's kind of the point, isn't it? It's like, I guess King Arthur was behind it, but the whole point was that no one person owned it and everyone had an equal footing at the table. So, I ran the first couple to try and get it off the ground, but the intention was always to get it out to other people because, I could run it on my channel every week, but then I would get all the views. I would get lovely people joining your channel today. That's exactly what I was after. I wanted us all to get more subscribers, have a bit of cross-pollination, everyone subscribing to everybody. That's exactly what I was going for. So yeah, thank you for taking it on today. If I may plug it as well, just to let everyone know that it's going to be a podcast as well at some point. It already is now, but they're all just going to be, if you're watching this live, you're probably not going to want to listen to it. But if podcast is your vibe, we'll also do it audio.
And that's good of you for giving it the running start, and I'm going to run it into the ground now. So I think next is to bring on the next guest. So there's two people waiting, and I've not told them any orders. So I feel like I'm a bit like Anne Robinson. I've gone a bit mad with power here. It's going to be a channel who once got a bit too carried away with spanking a bottle of Arran, and a name I will 100% butcher every time I say it. Now, do I purposely say it wrong, or do I say I purposely said it wrong? But Sertug, the whiskey enthusiast, how are you?
Hi guys, yeah, all good. Very happy to be here. And don't worry, I'm used to my name being butchered, and you actually say it pretty good.
I'll take that. Most words I can't pronounce, as most people in the green room learned earlier, and I threw mass panic as I didn't pronounce the H in Highlands.
My order just got mixed now.
Yeah, I like to throw a bit of confusion. It adds a bit more excitement. But you've been on the round table, I think, is it once, maybe before, when it was the mad
once?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The mad pylon almost, where we talked about both the positive aspects of WhiskyTube as well as a bit more, maybe the
Absolutely. It
darker
was,
side.
I think it was very helpful for everyone to share their insights on how they, did the videos and how they felt. And especially from you and Ben, who just decided to maybe take a step back. And then, of course, we had Phil and Mac join in, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, a very much wild ride. I'm sure tonight's going to be a lot more. I've kept the link private just to kind of keep this on lockdown.
Oh, it was meant to be private, was it? Oh, sorry, mate.
It's gone on every Facebook group known to man now. I think I can just about handle 3, but I'm going to stretch myself to the 4th now. So finally, a small but growing channel led by recycling-loving absolute gent with a channel name. And I promise, every time I go to write it down in a live chat or anything, I have to go to copy and paste because I can never spell it. Roy from Aquavito. Good evening.
How you doing? Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Welcome to that. Do you want me to give you a little introduction, or I think
yes,
following my
give me an introduction.
So this is Roy. He likes whiskey. I think that's about covers it, doesn't it?
Perfect. I love whiskey. Love whiskey. Yeah.
So
and everything it brings.
I feel like I've got almost like another Avengers. I was very lucky to have a Whiskey Avengers team last Thursday, and I've been grateful to bring in another just as strong. Some would say stronger. I'm going to leave that for debate. I can only say that because you four are here.
There's a lot of VPub attendees, beautiful whiskey folk. Dedicated barflies were very happy. Thank you for looking after them, Alvin. Sorry, Jeff.
It was. Yeah, so the secret is out. I do go by many names. Roy gives me 3 or 4 of them, but we can't talk about that on stream. So many folk here. It is awesome to see. So thank you. I'm going to try dive in and just say hello to some folk because it's really kind of you to be here. Whiskey Love Society, great to have you here. Danny Keenan, good evening. Hope you're well. We got, I don't know what that emoji is. Something from Whiskey Novice. Oh, it's a heart. Don't know him though, so thank you for being here, whoever you are. Rafe, Greg's Whiskey Guide, and so many folk. Nordic Malt, Andy Cross, wonderful. Is everyone here ready to rock and roll and start with the first bottle?
Let's do this.
Okay, before we do, just thank you, whiskey enthusiast, whoever you are, for becoming a channel member. Someone in the chat today, very kind, and I'll slip you that 99p back. So, you know,
I'm going to bribe the audience now to vote for me. That's what I'm going to do.
I didn't pre-warn him, but I am very open to bribes. So do we want to fly on in and dive with the first region, which is, if I can find, I did have something set up for this, and it's going to be very anticlimactic now. There you go. A little Highland's name in the top right corner. So would people like to go in a specific orders? Anyone feeling super passionate about theirs, or are you happy for me to just use StreamYard's default order?
That's on you, mate. You can rotate us each time or whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I'll do that. I'll do like
drag our wee windows.
First, yeah. Right. Starting with you, Jim. Are you ready to sell us your bottle of Highland whiskey? Actually, no. Sorry, I've teased you there. Before we fly into that, I would like to have a quick discussion and see what your thoughts are if I said, do we still need whiskey, Scotch whiskey regions?
I don't, honestly, I was going to mention it at some point. I don't think I think the lines have blurred, put it like that. I don't necessarily think Scotch whiskey regions exist in the way they used to. However, that being said, I sat down last night and wrote my tasting notes for a couple of Speysides and what I would consider classic Speysides, and one's a Lowland, but it's got a very Speyside feel, which sort of ties into what I'm saying, that yes, the lines are blurred, but certainly if you go back to classics, yes, that there are those feels. Speyside is that floral, honeysuckle, all that sort of stuff. Islay would always have always tended to have the more peaty end of things. Campbeltown has got its own style. But to me, there was always blurred lines there, and the Lowlands, certainly in our time, the Lowlands never had a terribly outstanding feel because of the distilleries that existed in the Lowlands. There weren't two of them that tasted the same to me, that were producing whiskey that tasted the same. So I'll not go too deep into it for now, because I'm sure we will hit upon it quite regularly as we're going through the night.
Perfect. Would anyone else like to dive in on that point now, or do you want me to do one by one and let Jim thrust his bottle out?
Let's do
I
the
think that
bottle.
silence. Yeah, I was going to say that silence, I think, is the shock of the fear of Jim thrusting his bottle out. I'm going to make you full screen. Jim, would you like to please present yourself?
Well, this was a bit last moment, because we had sort of gone down the path of the old classic 5 regions SWA thing. And then Jeff very graciously last night went, well, no, let's not. And I actually agree. I think that he's right, that there are 6 regions. I think the Highlands and Islands definitely have their fields. And very last minute then, it was my Highlands pick that I had to go for. And I decided to go for this, the Glengarry 12-year-old. This to me is a weirdly outstanding whiskey that Highland whiskey in and of itself doesn't necessarily have, to me personally, a label. And that Highland whiskey just changes dramatically around that region. It's a large region. Obviously not as populated as Speyside, but a lot of distilleries in the Highland region. And just this, I was sort of late to the game where Glengarry was concerned, and especially this bottling. There are a lot of bottlings. Well, I was going to say there are a lot of bottlings from Glengarry. There aren't really. They don't have that many expressions. At its price level, which is around the 40 to 45 pounds mark here in the UK, this Glengarry 12-year-old, I think, is fantastic. 46%. From memory, I'm not going to try and read the label because my eyesight wouldn't allow for it. From memory, non-chill filter, no colour at it. Certainly at least one of them boxes ticked, and it just is a standout Highland whiskey. And I'm not going to name other distilleries because I would nearly guarantee that some of the other guys have picked distilleries that I would, if I was to name them, they would have already picked them. I don't know what the other guys have picked. So, but this just weirdly to me is a standout. It's one of those that needs to be talked about more. It's almost one of those bottlings that we should. I would have suggested, we would have said a couple of years ago, don't tell anybody about it. Let's just keep this our little secret. So that is my pick, the Glengarry 12-year-old for the Highlands.
I think you got a lot of backing there. I'm seeing lots of people in the comments. Scott saying cracking bottle. Mike, love a little Gary. Good to know. Greg's Whiskey Guide. Glengarry, isn't it? It's not Glengaroo. Glengarry, great distillery and great 12-year-old too. So I've not had it. I've only had, is it Founders something? It's got like a red label. It's got a date in Founders something.
It's the Distiller's Reserve or something like that.
That's the one. And I thought it was not bad at all. Not bad at all. So has anyone got any comments on Jim's choice? Any compliments? Any disapproving glances?
Beautiful bottle.
Okay, so that's a lot more. Are we talking about the bottle, yeah? Or are we talking about...
Talking about the bottle, talking about the juice. It's a beautiful, delicious dram, but I've seen many people struggle with it. I think it's a bit out there in terms of whiskey journey. I think you taste a little bit more until you get to Glengarry. That's what my experience have been with the people around me.
So I think that's a pretty strong start for the Highlands. So it's Finn, you're next. Are you ready to
I'm ready.
So take yourself and reveal yourself.
So this pick came to me via way of blind tasting, and I think that it's not a theme of my picks today, but this one here, I had to bring it forward when I was looking at Highlands. As always with my picks, they're mostly affordable, readily available, because that's what I tend to buy. But I've got Roy to thank for this one, because he invited me to a blind tasting, and as eager as always. And when I rank my drams, from worst to best, sometimes it's just that, it's worst to best. Sometimes I get one that I absolutely love, and I think to myself, if this one's less than 50 quid, it's getting bought. And I bought it. So here we've got the Glengasal Port Soy, which is not shown up on my light very well at all. But an absolutely astounding whiskey, and relatively cheap as well. So I think it's less than 50 quid. I should probably double check that before I do. I did get it up. Yeah. Oh, it's a bit over. It's a bit over, but yeah. But it's got everything that I want from it. It's got a little bit of peat. It's got a little bit of coast. It's got a little bit of sherry, bit of port in there as well, and that really helped me pick it out of the lineup, because it has, again, probably can't see it here, but it's got a lovely kind of rose gold color to it. Actually, the only one today that I've yet to properly cover on the channel, because it's been sitting in my queue, waiting for a good window for me to do it. But yeah, blind tasting. That's really all I can sell this to, because I picked it without knowing what it was at all, and continues to be stunning to this day. And when I do my review of it, that'll be getting killed pretty quickly, I think, because I won't be able to keep my grubby mitts off of it, I don't think. Oh, Jeff's on mute.
Muted yourself.
As you can tell, I work with computers. How many times is that going to happen throughout the night? I just had a big glug of drinks. I thought no one wants to hear that. Why Vin was pouring his heart out for, is it port? I can't pronounce it, but that
Port Soy.
Port Soy. Yeah, very, very tasty. I've managed to try that, I think, twice now, and yeah, it's on the list. Not that I'm trying to be impartial here. We've got Greg saying, for the challenge, were your guests allowed to pick an indie bottle instead of an OB? Yes, it was whatever. In truth, I didn't give them a lot to go off. It was a bit of a mad scramble, and I even sent messages which I thought I sent and then I didn't, and luckily I was able to get people could come in at last minute, and it was very loose. So it's any bottle in that region. So I think there is maybe not to spoil things, maybe an indie or two popping up. There may not be. And we've got a lot of niceness going on with Roy saying, I think we'll see a lot of decent bottles tonight. That's a great start. So that was relating to Jim's bottle. I'm hoping this niceness doesn't last. I'm sure it won't. I know I picked these guests purposely because I know how spicy they can get. So speaking of spice, Roy, are you ready?
Sure.
The table's all yours.
I do think it was a great start by Jim, and it's a great start by Vin as well. Unfortunately, they've both blundered. I think it's really important today, not that we make our purchasing decisions by these rules, but we keep them in mind and we talk about them loudly, and we constantly have our place online as whether we're on YouTube or whatever we do, and take the opportunity to critique things and feedback. And I'm a particularly impassioned individual when it comes to natural presentation. I love it. And, some of the whiskies are presented naturally. Some of them are not presented naturally. The worst thing about it is the transparency. What condition are they putting? Are they adding colour to this Glengarry 12? Are they chill filtering this Port Soy, this Glenglassaugh Port Soy, even although the higher ABV is there? Unless they put these type of things on the label and stuff. We don't really know if it's fully natural. So I'll get a wee dig in there. I still love both those whiskies. They're both on my shelf. I think they're fantastic picks. But I really love when I see a successful product based on integrity forward natural presentation. And value too is super important to me. Vin touched on it, and he's absolutely right. I have picked and it's been a while since I've spoken about these guys, and so don't give me the fanboy nonsense. It's easy to be a fanboy about something when you truly love it, when you connect with it. The one I've picked for tonight is from Ardnamurchan, from the furthest west on the mainland. Ardnamurchan is their standard AD, but this is the cask strength version. Their standard AD is a £45, great value, fantastic release, which is arguably getting even stronger and more compelling as each new outturn comes along. And I think that that's true of the cask strength as well. This is probably the richest of them all. Still got that lovely kind of coastal salinity, that lovely kind of fruity spice. But there's an earthy depth to this one tonight. This is their third batch that came out just at the end of last year, about 60 to 65 pounds. In this particular batch is 58.1% ABV, cracking value, but more than anything, just a luscious, fantastic beacon and torchbearer for everything in Scotch whisky right now. And I can't wait to see what Ardnagh continue to bring us in the future. So my Highland pick, I'm putting forward Ardnagh's cask strength. Cheers, everyone.
You can tell he's a man who's done this before. This ain't his first rodeo. We've got North Coast Rama. I was waiting for the slide of you and Roy to appear again. Roy, I don't believe, has seen that, and we will be keeping it that way. And no further questions. And Whiskey with Molly said there can be only one choice for Highland whiskey, and that's Loch Lomond. So we'll see what, this could be the real game changer. Are you ready? The whiskey enthusiast ready to enthusiasm.
Bring it. Bring it.
Enthusiast. Oh, yeah. Show us what you got.
Right. So I took a different approach to this. I'm going to try to market the crap out of these whiskeys. And I am a sucker for stories. So let's begin the first one. So this is a very special whiskey coming from a very special distillery, coming in a very special box. For 1 week in 1 year, this massive distillery stops every production just to make this. This Glenmorangie Signet, coming in this beautiful bottle, is your morning breakfast cappuccino, your afternoon espresso, and your post-dinner tiramisu in a glass. And I paired this with this long and elegant tulip glass to pay homage to the longest stills in Scotland. So this Glenmorangie Signet in beautiful and elegance is my pick of the Highlands. Cheers, guys.
That was remarkably slick. Please say you have that written down ready to go. You had. From the heart. It's
Yeah.
Glenmorangie Signet definitely has a special place in my heart. But again, I'm not influencing. I think every bottle is a good choice, or where I can comment. So Helen's saying Highland pick for us would be a toss between Ardnagh Merkin AD or Loch Lomond 18. Fab whiskey, not bad value either. Value has been touched upon already, which I live and breathe value. So I'm glad to hear that. So I'm now, if I've done it right, there should now be a poll appearing in the chat for best Highland. So please do pick. Can I choose as well? No, I can't.
Are we allowed to vote for ourselves?
I'm voting for myself. I'll be the only vote, I think. I'm afraid.
Boys,
I'm going to allow you to do yourself. This is the kind of stream that's acceptable.
At least that way we're guaranteed that we don't end up with a donut, right?
Yeah.
At least someone will vote for us.
A little cheer. So while the votes are coming in, anyone want to slander anyone else's pick? Now you know it all together.
I'm going to slander my own pick, mate, because I literally like when you told us about what we were doing with this, and then said, "Oh, I need your picks now," like less than a week ago. I literally had to go with what I had on my shelf. So yeah, I think I've gone for value, but I don't think it's going to lean towards the popular vote. Any of mine.
Well, honestly, if I was going to say, and this is no slight, Roy, but I would have said you were going to say Ardnagh Merkin, and that's and the other thing is,
given how much I bang on about Loch Lomond,
exactly,
given how much of a rocket I gave Glengarry 12 recently. Yeah, listen, I've been holding off on the Ardnagh Merkin banter recently. I've tried not to be that guy, but I bloody love the stuff, James. Sorry to interrupt. On you go.
Do you know what the thing is? And I'm listening to Sertug as well. I'm going, I've told you before that Glenmorangie are my guilty. I always use the term guilty secret distillery. I love Glenmorangie. I love everything that they do. And Loch Lomond's been mentioned more than once here. Everybody knows that I love Loch Lomond. So it's one of those. Highlands is a very difficult one to pick, and we are going to fall on our favourites. It's going to happen. That's what this is about.
And I think it's interesting just how much character and accessibility or personality or charisma and charm that these producers have too. There's a lot of producers being mentioned tonight that we feel like we can get to know and connect with a little bit. Whereas there are other producers out there that we really struggle with. There's a huge barrier. It's harder to access them. It's harder to see a face behind the brand and things. And I think that does count towards the reasons why we maybe fall in love with this. However, I will caveat that with the suggestion that probably that's more relevant to people who live closer to it. I don't know if people that are further away and a bit more distant have kind of, I think it's maybe, unless social media is their only chance to connect with things. So it's interesting that these whiskies that we speak about with passion, there are faces behind them as well, which I think go a long way.
So you're not just selling the bottle, you're selling the entire identity around that distillery.
The ethos, the ethics, the integrity, everything that we love, it's like friends. Yep.
I think while the votes are coming in, I just had a quick look. So I had to just check back. Yep. So when I did this, I went for Glenmorangie Signet myself. Not that makes any odds today, and that's why there was a comment. So yeah, Andrew Butler said no Jeff option. I wanted to ensure I was being as safe managing this as possible, but I've got a new list where I've had to remove any duplicates, which I'll really say at the end if that's any interest. But yeah, my pick was Signet. But yeah, I thought I've got to be as unbiased as possible. Great to see you, Leanne. Thank you for joining us. I don't know what time it is where you are, so thank you for popping in. What was Jim and Vin's? Can everyone quickly go around and just to say what your bottle was?
Or just hold
Jim,
them up.
start with you.
Yep.
So Vin,
Glengasell Port Soy,
Roy,
Ardnamurchan Cast Strength,
and Sertug.
Glenmorangie Signet.
So that was the least impressive school register ever that was. But
do you get minus points for not having an open bottle?
No, and I will caveat that as well. I have allowed people to have put forward names. I limited it to 2, and luckily no one came close to crossing that. But it's the 2 bottles which you don't own, because I thought it might be unfair if you love a bottle and you've just finished it, or it's about your price range at the moment, but you can replace it. So I have allowed that. Excuse me. So I'm still battling. I've had a cold for 3 weeks now. But why the final votes come through, it seems pretty done. But would you four like to enjoy a game of Guess the Bottle? I know Vin has played this once before, and that is a case of...
Oh, I'd love to play this.
Oh, this is good. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because if you said it was trash, no one was going to argue with you.
No, I did enjoy this.
So, and people joining in the comments as well. I'll try see if I can find people who come through first. And that is, so this is just a bottle, and
is it a blurt out or hold her hand or shut up?
I think it's you get from, I've played it different rules every time I've played it now, and I've decided I think the best way is everyone. So you've got to say it as quickly as you see it, but you only get one guess.
Yes.
So if you say I'm going with this, and it's not, you're out. So you won't know what it is until the last slide. You may guess it right, but I'm not going to tell you.
Fantastic.
So is everyone ready? So this can be the warm-up. All right, guess the bottle. Anyone going in strong from this?
Oh,
a lot of silence. A lot of chickens. All right, there we go. That's obvious now.
Dalmore 12.
Dalmore. Yes, Dalmore. I'm actually going to go Dalmore, the cigar one.
So we've got 2 people locked in. We've got a Dalmore 12 locked in and a Dalmore cigar malt. We'll see
Yes.
There we go. I think that's a bit of a giveaway. Anyone else want to guess?
No, I'm not sure it's the 12. I think the colour's different.
Yeah, it's a bluish color,
It's
right?
blue
15.
colour.
Dalmore 15.
And are you locking that in?
Hmm?
So we've got a Dalmore 15. Was it a Dalmore 12, Roy?
I did say 12 because we're on Jeff's channel, so I had to say Dalmore 12.
And what were you cigar
I
malt,
said
Tim?
cigar malt.
Well, I'm going to wait then because nobody else is competing against me anymore.
exactly.
You just got to hope they haven't beat you to it. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
this could
yeah.
be the last slide. There you go. Any
Okay.
guesses?
Well,
There is one more slide actually, but I think I'm not going to allow you to guess on that one because that's just the bottle image.
okay. Did someone say 15? I'll take 15 if nobody said 15.
Okay.
Nice.
Has the 15 gone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it has.
I love
Okay.
it.
I'll take
You can.
I'll take Lucio then.
I was going to say you can go with the 15 if you want. You can all guess the
Well,
same.
No, because I'll be behind,
Yeah.
won't I? So it's
Yeah.
pointless.
So I'm afraid to say. Oh no, there was one more image. Sorry, Vin, I did lead you astray
That's all
there.
right.
Did you want to re-throw the dice?
No, I'm gonna go with Lucio.
Okay, so it is the 18.
Oh.
18.
None of us got it.
I should have gone with the
Good.
chat.
I was going to say, who got it first? I saw one when the Dalmore talk was happening. Bayhan got an 18. I'm
think
trying to see. There's a Dalmore 18 above.
Might have been
David
David
Owen.
Owen. Yeah.
I think it's fantastic
shout.
that somebody in the chat wins this one. Good stuff.
Yeah. You can wear that with pride. I was going to say you could go by the color. You know, it's an 18-year-old whiskey. It's going to have a lot of rich color from being in the cask that long, but
Yeah.
it's not really relevant here with Tango Orange.
Nice blue label. That's what we'll go with.
All right, I'm just
No,
going to
a
quickly.
member of my whiskey club guessed it correctly. 18.
So is that a pay to win? Is it? Have you been slipping him your guesses? So I'm just quickly making notes of. Did you want me to score this as there's only one winner, or did you want me to do 4 points, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point
For the
For
bottles or for guess the bottle?
for the bottle? Sorry, yeah. Guess the
Yeah,
bottle
I
is
think 4, 3,
meaningless.
2, 1. Nobody can go home on 0, right?
Thanks, Roy.
Wow. That's good of the man who's saying who's clearly looked at the poll.
The confidence in Vin.
Yes, 1 point.
So yes,
No, I think
can
that was
share
that was
poll
the curveball of my selection. I think the rest of them are going to be much more up people's street by accident.
June. I'm trying to find if there's a way to just to share the results, but I'm sure you can all see it in the chat, and I'll let you know. I'm glad I'm going to have to do maths in a minute, aren't I? So let's end the poll, and it's disappeared. There it is.
Just in the
So
chat.
coming in at first, I could go last the first, but we all know it's the Ardner Merkin. It's the hype beast, the well-deserved hype beast, followed by Glenmorangie Signet, and then Jim, your Glengarry 12, and then last. Is it because people have not tried it? Possibly. I think that bottle could be a convincer. I'm afraid to say, Vin, that's 1 point. Feel free to discuss amongst yourself while I quickly just try to make a tally.
It's one of those things that I honestly think, you know, as much as this is fun, it's no more than that, really. I mean, it's offering up 4 good whiskies of choice, you know, and certainly cases of whiskies that somebody maybe hasn't tried before, and that's what it's all about.
And I think what's really interesting, and it kind of bleeds into that original chat that we had about how the regions, how valid are they today? If we walked into someone's house that they had any of those bottles, we'd be excited to see them and share them, right, and enjoy them. But if we walked into a flight and the flight was Portsoy, Glengarry 12, Ardnamurchan Cask Strength, and Signet, that would be a brilliant flight of whiskies, and no 2 whiskies would be the same. So I think there's a lot of value in this, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, Tim saying this would be hard on the podcast. Yes, it will. I've not thought about that, to be honest, Vin. We need audio descriptions for Guess the Bottle.
No, it shouldn't be too bad. I might have to do a bit of funky editing, but Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too worried about it at the moment because there's only like 6 Spotify subscribers to the WhiskyTube Roundtable podcast. So if you want me to put like lots of effort into that, then feel free to hit the subscribe
Well,
button.
that's a chicken and egg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's there because I want it there, but that's it.
Yeah. You've all hit the hammer on the head, the nail on the head, I should say. And that is, no bad whiskies. And while this is a fun game and a way that I can sit back and pretend to host a stream where I get everyone else to do the work for me, it's a case of it puts out a good list of what we're tickling. So is everyone ready to go down or up to Speyside?
We are
Let's
ready.
do this.
There you go. Get ready for the well-deserved graphic. There we go. That makes all the difference. Right, Vin, I'll start with you this time. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, I am. Okay.
Fire away.
So, Speyside. Apparently, I've gone pretty peat heavy today, again, without really thinking about it. But Speyside is obviously, as we're probably going to see today, a very relatively small, I guess, compared to Highlands, but there's a lot to pick from. And as we talked about as well, the terroir of the area probably is disappearing slowly because you can move materials in and out. Anyway, what I've done today is pick a relatively new bottling from quite an old distillery under relatively new management, and that's the Micheltorr Original 5. Now, truth be told, I probably would have picked the Turbo, but I want all my stuff to be available, basically. That's always what I've tried to do on the channel, so it's got to be available now, which this one is. We've got here, ticking the boxes for what Roy talked about earlier, no added colour, non-chill filtered, we've got an age statement on here, we've got 50%. It's peated, of course, and a little signature on here, all important Billy Walker signature. Now, the range is quality. The original, I think, is the good place to go. But you can, if you like your sherry stuff, then you can check out some of the other ones as well. But for me, this is where it sits perfect for me, apart from the Turbo as a caveat. But yeah, for me, I think any fan of whiskey who likes peat in any way, shape or form probably needs to try this range because it's a fantastic range.
Very good. Oh, I'm zooming into the wrong person there. Very good selling there. I think has everyone here tried Micheltorr in some variety?
Yeah.
Not yet.
I'm glad it's not just me. I've not. I think I've got a sample somewhere, but I've not got to it. And but I've heard, the Turbo is the best, possibly.
It's good.
Not to twist yours. Not to twist your choice in any way, Vin. And I'm sure. So is it the original you've got?
Yes.
Highest ABV, and I think it was the smallest outturn and the hardest to get a hold of. So of course it's going to be the best one. But I think the crucial part is already been kind of touched on, is that this is Billy Walker's liquid now. This is not inherited liquid that's in those bottles. This is his vision for what that distillery can make and not what it has been making. A good pick, Vin. A really good pick.
Has anyone compared it with the Futures, the 4-year-old Glenallachie? Any of the Micheltorrs?
Well, the Turbo was easier to get than that 4-year-old Sertug. So
I have a sample. I'm waiting for it.
So they had a bottle at the Bon Accord, so I was able to enjoy a dram or two at the Bon Accord, but it wasn't inexpensive either. It was quite pricey. That 4-year-old that came out, it was £90, maybe £80, £90, something like that. It's incidental because nobody could get a hold of it. It sold out super quickly. But what's really good, as Vince touched upon, is the 3 behind the Turbo of the Micheltorr that came out is still available now. This is their core range now. This is what we need producers to be able to do. It's fantastic.
So it's very friendly of you all. I was hoping for a lot more backstabbing.
Well, once the drams slip down, we'll start to get the teeth will be sharpened.
Well, I like to say as well, I mean, I wasn't told about any prize here today, so winning is incidental, right?
There's no prize sweeter than kudos, Jim. Vin, sorry. Vin.
Well, Roy, so are you going to go down the sweet route? It's time for you to present yourself.
Yeah, ready. I think I'm going to stay on theme. I'm going to go with, we know the audience, right? The people that are, it's a kind of strange thing that happens when you get into whiskey, when you first have your few 40%ers. that you pick up, you know, your kind of mass market single malts, whatever they may be, they tend to be 40 or 43% ABV. And even that can be difficult. As we come into whiskey, we realize how much of a barrier of entry the ABV can be. But, you know, once we were two or three bottles in, we start to realize that that ABV is such a carrier of flavor, of texture, of just part of the fun of it can be enhanced, or it can be detracted from because of the ABV presentation. And very quickly, as single malt enthusiasts specifically, we really do get a taste for cask strength stuff. So for my Speyside pick, I have gone cask strength. I have gone with what sometimes is referred to as this. I've been guilty of this too, the Speyside of Campbeltown, which is a wee bit unfair to both distilleries maybe, but this has been Romac's cask strength. This one in particular is batch 3 of the 2012 vintage, and it's presented at 59.6% ABV and cost me £53 of your sterlings. The value is not a discussion point here. It's just a given. This stuff is so good that even when you start to get a little bit kind of, I don't know, comfortable with it, somebody pours it for you blind and you're chasing all around the map because you never consider this to be a Speyside whiskey. It's very, very unique. It's unique in Speyside, certainly, but it's even a wee bit unique in the Scotch landscape as well. Everyone should have one of these red and white bottles on the shelf. Whether it's a cask strength or not is up to you. All the whiskey from Ben Romac is fantastic. But my pick for value, for potency, for just compelling liquid would be a wee bottle of the cask strength. It's fantastic stuff.
Mute Jeff.
How many years of Zoom did we all have to go through? It's because I'm trying to like mad scribble notes here to make sure I can keep track of who's got what.
You just don't want us to hear all the burping and coughing and farting. Right?
Well, at least that proves that wasn't me.
I will admit that was me, and I thought I was muted. I apologize. As soon as I did it, I looked down and went, "Oh no, I didn't mute that."
That's right. It adds to the excitement, the added sound effects. So was that your thoughts on Roy's pick then, was it?
Yeah.
Sabotage.
Right. Are you ready? Can you tell me how to pronounce your name? Just because I fear every time I say it, I'm going to say it wrong and then the stutter kicks in. Can you confirm the correct way to say it? And I'll try my best.
What, the whiskey enthusiast bit or the Turkish bit?
Either.
It's the G is actually soft, so it's Sertug.
Sertug.
Yeah.
I'll try my best in my very thick, useless Somerset accent. We've already established you can speak a lot better English than I can, so next time, you know, this is why I decided to step back, and I'm letting you four take the brunt of this evening. Are you ready?
I am ready. Bring it on.
Time for you to reveal your pick.
All right. For Speyside, again, a bottle with a story. I pick the Glenfarclas 15. If you can, there you go. This is a family-owned distillery for 6 generations now, and this 15 has a special place within the lineup because it's the only one bottled with 46% ABV. Why? Because the great-great-grandfather, the founder's son, liked it that way. Has a nice story about it's being a Christmas gift, and it is Christmas in a bottle. It's a whiskey drinker's whiskey and also a beginner's whiskey. I've not known anyone who doesn't enjoy a Glenfarclas 15. And I paired it with the sturdy, the now classic Glencairn glass. You know, it's not the most exciting thing out there, but every time you have a whiskey in a Glencairn, you're going to feel special. And every time you're going to have a Glenfarclas 15, you're going to enjoy yourself. So my pick for the Speyside is the Glenfarclas 15. Cheers.
Well, I'm not muted yet. We're safe. Another great pick. An often overlooked pick, I would say. I don't know if everyone else agrees with me on that. But I know when I first got into the whiskey world, like Glenfarclas was the jam to have. And I feel now, because it was on everyone's radar to begin with, it's now a bit overlooked. Would anyone agree with that? Disagree with that? Tell me to go away.
I haven't got any.
It's all about that. I mean, they're one of the best distillery tours I've ever been on because it's just such a beautiful distillery, old classic distillery. That the smell and that the old dunnage warehouse is incredible. But everything in that low sort of even, and I'm not honestly there to. I love what you're doing there, pairing it with glasses. Yeah, bugger. Yeah, what I mean, what's all that about? Just pulling the heartstrings of everybody there. But it's the distillery, what they do, the fact that they're still privately owned, everything there is beautiful. The whiskey in itself, to me, even that, all those sort of early age stated stuff, the 105 and all, it just doesn't do it for me. Just personally, it's a personal thing.
Fair enough, man. That's taste and preferences. You can't argue this.
And I think you've been very clever there by not just the bottle, but the whole distillery. And lots of people in the comments are saying about, as a distillery, it is a good pick. And obviously I've not been there because I'm down deep in bumpkin land, but it seems like you've struck a chord there. So that means, last but not least, Jim, are you ready? And did you want me to give you a bit of assistance?
Yes, Jeff. I always love your assistance.
So can I focus on just you so you can have it? So I'll let you introduce it and then I'll click the next slide tab.
Well, the reason why you're asking if I want assistance is that it's a bottle that I currently, and I'm ashamed to say I don't have. What I do have is an independent bottling of much the same thing from James 80. And I have their slightly older version. But I just don't have a Craigellachie 13, and there's certainly one vote. If I don't get it tonight, I'll be sorely disappointed because I already seen Helen Widdowson saying in the background that that's the only Speyside for them. It's not even just the first time I had Craigellachie 13. It's, and I'm convinced it's back to this thing that we've been discussing an awful lot recently. Again, it's the worm tub. It's the fact that they have a worm tub, and it just adds that layer of filth, that layer of heaviness. I wrote my tasting notes for another distillery's bottling last night. I sat down and was doing the tasting notes, added a drop of water, and thought to myself, there's something about this. And it was another distillery altogether. There was a heaviness about it, and it was, and I thought to myself, do they have a worm tub? I never even checked, because there was just something about it, and it reminded me of Craigellachie 13. And sure enough, it did. And that's the thing about Craigellachie. It's all about the honeysuckle, that sweet floral Speyside. Craigellachie, to me, and not just Craigellachie, but Craigellachie 13 in particular, screams Speyside. It's not just a good Speyside whiskey. It, to me, epitomizes Speyside whiskey. Done.
Mute.
Mic drop. Mic on.
I'm just making sure you're all paying attention because I'm sure many people are dropping off during that magnificent speech of. You're welcome to bash Jim for not having the bottle. That is allowed, but I am allowing people to pick a bottle that they don't have.
James 80, don't do it. And this is the first, I think, time that I noticed that not always do the independent bottler get it right. You know, sometimes the official bottling is better than what the indies can do with it, especially the fact that it's bottled at 13 as well, and probably pretty much exactly the same maturation.
Well, I think they got a lot of fans there for this bottle, Jim. And as Whiskey's Molly pointing out, I did give it 20 out of 24 Jeffs. And, you know, Jeffs mean an awful lot, don't they? The most pointless scoring system known to man. Fernando, how many regions already? So we're only on the second. These lot are clearly rambling too much. I know what you're saying. We have, I could vote for all of them. So yes, the poll is now live. I'm sure you four have already gone and voted for yourself. And I don't judge you too much for that. So while the votes are coming in, are you four ready for another round of Guess the Bottle?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I am waiting for you lot to say no, and then I'm just going to do it anyway. Right. There may be a theme going on here. You may be able to pre-guess. Let me just hide
Is it
this.
brown whiskey? That's the thing. Is it?
Well tangoed. Right. Remember, you only get one guess, and first one to guess it wins. Any takers?
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm hearing lots of groans, but I don't think that means much.
Yeah, they're all from me. I'm just going to hold my water. I'm just going to wait till the next one.
Okay. Image number 2. I think this could be a giveaway.
Oh. No, it's not what I was expecting to see. So no.
I'm just
Glad I
quickly
waited.
checking. Oh, I've accidentally clicked print on this PDF. There we go. Any better?
Glenfarclas
105.
Oh, who was that first? I think Sertug got it first. I think. Anyone want to question me with that? Not that that's the bottle. May have given the game away. So we've got a few guesses locked in. I think this is a bit of a giveaway, this one. Has anyone not guessed and wanted to throw in their name in there?
I think we all said the same thing. It was
Yeah.
just whichever one was first.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the 105. So it was originally going to be the 15. And then I thought that would be, if it's been appeared already, and lots of people got Glenfarclas. Someone went for 10, someone's gone for 21. I think the first pick of it, let's see. Whiskey and Molly. Oh no, he was just beaten by Whiskey Milk Content Reviews. I think he's the first. Oh no, Andrew Pearce. So yeah, I don't know if they beat you. I'll let you decide. There's no points. No point to any of this, to be honest. But
the chat always wins. We know this.
So it's time to end the poll, and I think we have a clear winner. We do indeed. So coming in fourth, I'm afraid to say, Vin, it's you again. So that's 1 point.
Bad.
You're going for the late comeback, aren't you? That's what it is. The emotionally driven story.
Absolutely not.
Another 2. 3 for Roy. And Jim, 57%, taking it by a bit of a landslide.
We love that. I was going to say Glenfarclas there, but it was Craig Alley.
well, we love the Glenfarclas too, don't we? So, yeah.
No, I think that was less close than the last one, I believe.
Again, so can we just mention 4 supposedly Speyside distilleries? You know, we've got a 15-year-old normally sherry monster. I mean, it can be quite inconsistent. We've got a lovely, lovely meaty spirit in the Craigellachie 13, but the potency of Benromach's cast strength, and finishing off with a PT Miko Tor, all from Speyside. You know, it's just the variety is crazy. Good picks though, really good picks.
I think it's a bit of a showcase tonight. Not to pump anyone up too much, but are you all ready now for whichever one is next, which I plan to be was the probably most overlooked region? Maybe that's not fair to say anymore. And we're going Lowlands. So Roy, are you happy to start this train off?
Yes, sure.
All right, fire away.
If I'd realised how much of a popularity contest this was going to be, I may have picked all my whiskies a wee bit differently tonight, but I think it's fine, because I think what everyone's here for to participate in is to get some good whiskey recommendations as well. And sometimes, Jim mentioned the promiscuity word a wee bit earlier tonight. Sometimes we just need to stay a wee bit open-minded and we try something new. And you try something new and it doesn't sit very well with you. Sometimes it can be a mistake to kind of shut that off and never go back again. And that's certainly caught me out with this distillery. I tried it when it was just fresh on the scene. It's a wee bit sharp, a wee bit jaggy, a wee bit young, a wee bit hot, but it got very, very good, very, very quickly. And it took me a wee while to reconnect with it again. Only to discover that as soon as I reconnected with it, the whiskey that I reconnected with disappeared and it's discontinued. And then they come out with another one, and you've kind of got to adjust again. And this is another fantastic pick. There's so much to pick from in the Lowlands these days. The majority of it is very, very new. Some of it, I'm looking at Daffmill here, can be a wee bit tricky to get a hold of, but this is not the case for this one. This is fully integrity presented whiskey, and it's from Kingsbarns in Fife. This replaced Dream to Dram, which I loved. I hope to see it back in some form in the future again, but this isn't a huge departure from Dream to Dram, let's be honest. But STR casts in there, so you would have to be wary of that. I happen to enjoy the spice that STR brings, so I quite enjoy this wee whiskey. I think it's lovely, elegant, and I think the most compelling thing about it, especially given the price, is how it's starting to taste like a mature product now. It is so balanced, it is so well put together, it's so affordable, it's so everywhere. This has got to be something that's on every enthusiast's radar these days. Been going for 10 years now. I don't know if we'll see an age statement this year or next. Maybe a wee 10-year, you never know. Maybe bring us a wee special edition. This one's at 46%, and this is the Ducat. And I recommend Kingsbarns as an easy drinking, elegant pour to anyone who wants to experience what the Lowlands are bringing us these days. Cheers all. And you're muted again.
I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose, I swear.
Okay.
Kingsbarn very much has a soft spot for me, and I'm very much saddened by the Dream to Dram being discontinued. I never got a bottle. It was one of the ones I thought, yep, that can stay on the list. I'll get it one day. And then when I heard the news, I've seen a few places still have it, either really high prices or really low prices. And the really low prices on websites, I'm not sure I trust.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you probably picked up the same as I did, Jeff, that on that Dream to Dram, there was a gorgeous creaminess to the liquid, right? And that creaminess, this is a slightly richer pour. It's slightly richer in profile, but the creaminess is still there, especially when you sip it in contrast with something else. It's weird that anyone would talk about creaminess when we talk about a distilled spirit, but it is genuinely creamy. It's fabulous.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I had one note, which was always Kingsbarn strawberries and cream.
Oh yeah,
it was just STR cask on my jam anyway. But that feels like I'm leaning too into your awful choice. No one pick it. So next, Sertug, are you ready?
I am.
Please reveal yourself.
All right. For the Lowlands, there's some really good choices out there, but I went for something new, something different. I went for the Holyrood Arrival. I'm sorry you can't see this, but beautiful bottle design. These guys are playing by the rules that they have to, but they are pushing the boundaries a lot with their different yeast strains and different barleys. And to be able to achieve this taste at this young age without any STR effect, this is Oloroso PX bourbon and rum cask. And to visit the place, to see the passion behind it, and to try, I think I tried 20 of their new makes. They are a whiskey nerd's heaven. And I absolutely love this bottle. So I grabbed it when I was in Edinburgh, and I paired it with another Maverick company of the glasses. I paired it with the Norland glass. It does what you need it to do in a way different shape. So for me, for the Lowlands, my pick is Holyrood Arrival and the Norland glass. Cheers, guys.
I don't know about anyone else, but I'm just excited to see what glass you're going with, as well as what bottle you're picking. So Holyrood, I've heard an awful lot of great things about that bottle. And recently on Discord or WhatsApp, there was a shop selling it at a really good price, and it was snapped up very quickly.
It's really good. It's really good. Their peated one is pretty good as well. They dropped it down to 43% because it was young and peaty and it was a bit harsh. But honestly, to visit the place is fantastic. They just let you do whatever you want to do. They're so easygoing, and their bar is pretty cool up there. It's right next to Tipsy Midgie as well, which is also a great bar over there. But having 20 different new makes from different yeast strains and barley varieties is just incredible to try. It's such an experience.
Yeah, and you not only are people fans of the bottle pick, you've got people battling over the glasses as well. You've got Helen Andy saying love him, and then straight underneath you got Justin saying he hates him.
Oh, like
maybe hates a bit extreme, but and we've got lots of people popping Tipsy, such a great whiskey bar. So that's a smart way of bringing it in. That could be a vote sold. Sandra, it's a lovely surprise. Thank you for joining in. So Jim, did you want me to just quickly flash first and then you go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. You can flash as much as you want, Jeff. I mean, it is a public channel, but I mean,
it's not purposefully, but I have noticed there's been an obscene amount of innuendo so far, and that is very much unplanned, and I can only apologize.
You are very good at it, sir, and I applaud you. Yes, what you're saying is, Jeff, is helping me out with this bottle again because I currently don't have one. But yes, my Lowland pick is it's Bladnoch, and it's a specific bottle of Bladnoch. It was the Ember casks. I managed to pick up a bottle on auction. It was it was one that was released for the Australian market. It was specifically for the Australian Whisky Club, but it summed up Bladnoch very well for me. Now, the Lowlands to me is the best example of a region that there are no. I can't think of two regions or two distilleries in the Lowlands that are producing whiskey that tastes even similar, let alone the same. But Bladnoch to me are just, there's a bit of a link for me as well, because back in the early 20th century, Dunville's owned Bladnoch Distillery and they were producing HMS whiskey, and it was just, there's something there that felt a bit home. Obviously that has changed a lot over the years, but that lactic thing that Bladnoch brings that a lot of people hate, and I that's what I keep hearing. It's not just dislike, it's hate. I do not like that lactic thing that it brings. I love it. I absolutely love that lactic, weird, cheesy, funky, creamy note that Bladnoch brings, and it's not just that Ember casks that I was talking about. I've had other Bladnochs, and I just love what they're doing. They're different. They're doing something different, and that's what it is for me. I could have picked other. I have some fond favorite Lowland distilleries and Lowland expressions, but just Bladnoch is that wee bit different for me, and it just stands out as not just as a Lowland whiskey, but as a Scotch whiskey in itself. So that is my choice.
A very, very strong choice. It's not one I've tried. Not sure if has anyone else tried that one. Can anyone vouch or disvouch, Jim?
No, but can I say something? And Vin will back me up on this. We were at the Bladnoch tasting of the Dragon series online, and I did mention the lactic note that I also love in Bladnoch's, Jim. And Nick Savage said, I don't get any lactic notes. It doesn't feel lactic or creamy or any funky to me. It's just so they said they don't go for it, which is weird, but I find it so much.
Yeah.
Nick Savage needs to sip other whiskies other than Bladnoch, and that would quickly bring it into focus for him. Listen to me telling Nick Savage what he should be doing. But you can't deny the Bladnoch. If you ask somebody to list 3 lactic whiskies, would maybe a Dathmel would appear, Bruichladdich would appear. I guarantee you Bladnoch's going to appear most of the time. Some people get a lactic thing, a cheesy thing. It's absolutely prevalent, and like you say, some people are sensitized to it, other people not so much, but it's definitely there. To suggest it isn't there is incredible.
Yeah, no, I've only tried one Bladnoch, and it was Dairy Lee cheese, like that kind of soft, creamy. Maybe if one that's been left in the fridge a bit too long, but times are tough. You'll eat moldy cheese. It's pretty much brie.
Yeah.
But on that note, is that to go to you now, Vin? Are you ready?
I am.
Are you sure?
I don't know. It's the truth. It's not been so good so far. We'll see what we can pull out now.
It's all right. The comeback king is here. Fire away.
I mean, as always with these things, I've picked things that I like rather than things that I thought that would go. I could have done something totally different with this, but anyway. So, and I think I might have even slightly lied to Jeff on this one as well. But a distillery quite close to my heart now, although they're again with all of these ones, they seem to be pretty new, pretty youthful. Is the Glasgow 1770. Now they've made some fantastic liquid over the years. One of which was this peated, which was my whiskey of the year for 2021. Now, this year, was it this year or last year? Maybe last year, they did a cask strength version of that, which I eagerly picked up, I think for about 65 quid, which is a full size bottle. So I think I might have told Jeff that it was the peated, but at the last minute, I've snuck in the cask strength to try and cinch that out a little bit. Unfortunately, you can't get hold of this anymore, but you still can get hold of the original one. Reason why I like Glasgow's because they started out with these little wee bottles, these little half litres, and they've now since progressed up to the big ones. I mean, you can barely tell the difference between these two. They've progressed up to the big ones for around about the same price as was. I think they've now crept past the 50 quid mark, unfortunately. But this cask strength, 60.8%. It's their standard maturation for the peated, which is the virgin oak, finished in PX casks. Now, I don't really like sherry that much, as you can probably tell by my selections today. But something about PX and peat really hits the old endorphin producers up in here for me, apparently. And I just absolutely love this stuff. I'm surprised I've still got this on the shelf, to be honest, because I have to keep my grubby mitts off this, as I always say. But yeah, I mean, Glasgow are doing stunning liquid across the board, but my pick of theirs, hands down, all the time, is the peated. And if you can get it, the peated cask strength, but they're definitely going to do this again. So yeah, keep an eye out for it. But that's me.
I'll be honest, I did think it was the cask strength that you meant.
Perfect.
I thought maybe you're going for more wider appeal, but from trying the cask strength, it is a fantastic whiskey that's then on another level with it being cask strength. Not that I'm taking sides. Everyone's pick is awful, and this is an awful stream, and I can't wait to go to bed. So I think
first true thing you said all night.
The only thing that's been non-scripted so far. So the poll is now live. I think I've confused the order again. I'm not sure, but everyone knows the names by now. While the votes are coming in, are you four ready and everyone watching, which is an awful lot of you, so thank you so much for watching. Are you ready for another Guess the Bottle?
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
All right. So remember, only one guess, and when you say it, I'm not even going to let you take it back or take anything. Anything you say is locked in. Let's fire away to the first one. Any takers? Don't be shy. We're all friends here.
Auburn Game of Thrones Night Watch.
Ooh, that's a very, very bold pick. But we'll continue. I'm not saying anything, but we'll continue.
If that's right, I call shenanigans.
Oh, this could be a giveaway, I think.
It was black in the last picture, and now it's not.
All right, I'd put my hat in the ring then. Auchentoshan 12-year-old.
So we got a Game of Thrones Oban and an Auchentoshan 12. Or as I pronounced for a very long time and then was quite bluntly humbled in a bar in Northampton, I referred to it as Auchentoshan because that's what I was told. And then I was, very much told, what the hell are you talking about? And to this point, I still don't know. Image number 3.
Oh, wow.
Any other takers? Okay, we're going to fly on down. Image number 4. This is
Auchentoshan American Oak.
There's American Oak, yeah.
Has anyone not guessed and want to throw a guess? You
I
may
haven't
still
guessed
win
yet.
this.
I might say bartender's malt then, if it's a different one.
Nice.
Very good pick. Final guess. I think this does give it away with the orange. But
is it 12 then?
Has everyone guessed before I reveal myself? I think so, right? Yeah, it's the American.
Yeah.
It was going to be the bartender's one, but I didn't know how well known that bottle was.
It's like you're not playing for me at all, Jeff.
I should have just seen what's been in your last whiskey in, whiskey out, and just picked those words?
I still wouldn't get it right, I don't think.
Yeah, American oak. I've got a bottle of it down there, and it's not a bottle that I plan to open anytime soon. It was a good stepping stone on my journey. I don't know if you have any preferences on Auchentoshan, or I know there's the Amazon exclusive Sauvignon Blanc thingy bob, the one to be served chilled, which I think you've experienced, Roy.
Yeah.
Can I just put? I'll just say about Auchentoshan. Here's what I always say about Auchentoshan, that I hear as working in an Irish whiskey shop, that Irish distillers triple distill for smoothness, and I always say, well, have you ever tried Auchentoshan? And that's basically just my answer to it all, because it's as rough as shite, in my opinion. Excuse my language. So there's that thing about Auchentoshan. I have never had an Auchentoshan that I've liked. That's my hat in the ring.
I mean, the bartender's malt is all right, but for me, this can sound really awful. I try not to talk like this usually on the but I feel like my palate has surpassed what they produce. You know, if I had them on the shelf, I wouldn't reach for it, and that's just the truth.
Yeah, see, I'm like you. I'm a fan of the bartender's one. And drinks whiskey, very much disagrees and throws it in cocktails, or you're of the approach like I am, good whiskey makes good cocktails. So maybe you are a fan and you're just saying how well it is for cocktails. But I don't think so. All right, so I'm going to pause the vote. Oh, could everyone just re-say your bottles, just for in case anyone's forgotten? Jim, can we start with you and do a round table?
Bladnoch Amber casks.
Yep, Vin.
1770 calf strength peated.
Roy.
Sorry, Kings Barnes Ducat.
And Sertug, rounding us off.
Holyrood Arrival.
Perfect. So the poll has been stopped. The results are coming in. I haven't looked to see what this is looking like. Oh, told you the comeback king is in.
Oh,
so
not
Vin
complete whitewash.
So that's 4 points for Vin. Feel free to discuss who you thought had the best pick while I try to do some basic maths.
I mean, strong again. I mean, I've got Roy's pick I've got on my shelf. Stunning drop. I've got the Bell Rock as well, which is another fantastic King's Barnes. I was really impressed to see actually that all of these were fairly youthful. Probably Bladnoch being the oldest distillery here, but still a youthful dram, I imagine. Not that accessible, I don't think, with Bladnoch,
No.
because they're a bit expensive for my liking, but all good drams again.
Well, it's certainly inaccessible when it's only shipped to Australia, like the one that Jim's picked. And I have to say, Jim, I was ready to scream and shout there. I was going to be annoyed if you pipped that based on that. You and I were toe to toe for a long time. In fact, you were in the lead for a wee while, and that would have really bothered me because I burned my vote voting for Vin's. That is stuck in.
Well, I'm not voting at all, so that's the way I'm quite happy to just let the public. That's the stance I've taken.
Fantastic.
We had a lot of guesses coming correct for the American oak. So if you were first, pat yourself on the back. I'm afraid to say no prizes. Maybe next time. So that does mean we are on to the next region, and that region is the non-region of islands. So who started last time?
I did, I think. So it's.
All right, Sertug, are you ready?
I think you're gonna like this one.
Right. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Right, my island picks is the OG slapper, the most slappable of them all, Aaron Bothy. So the Bothy is where people used to illicit distill, and nowadays just little places in the Highlands that people go and drink their own in the wild. So this is wild and unhinged. It's a cask strength. It's a fantastic, rugged, dirty, slappable dram. And it's one of my favorites. The new one is good as well, but I keep a couple of batches of this back. And I paired it with the simple, classic tumbler. You know, it's rugged, it's classic, it's there for a good reason. I love the Bothy. I love anything Aaron does. But for my pick, for the islands, it's the Bothy. Cheers.
Yeah, you gone for the slappable bottle. I was when I saw that comment, I can no longer think of that bottle without visions of you just going unnervingly to town, giving that bottle a wild spanking, is fair to say. A few people are new to this channel, so I will point out that is a thing. Bottle slapping is a weird thing that I do on my channel, and I have got all of you lot to debase yourself.
Don't we all slap bottles? Hands up if you slap your bottles.
All the time, mate.
I better put my hand up as well for that. I think we've all established we all need a different hobby.
Yeah.
So I think, Jim, you are to follow up. Is that? Yep, I'm going in the right order. Are you ready?
Yep, I am, I think.
All right. Release yourself.
I have gone for, and you probably got a glimpse of it there, one of my beginners, I'm going to say what we would consider technically, I suppose, a beginner's whiskey a few years back, but then they started to do something that piqued our interest again, and I'm going to go for the Highland Park cask strength. And this one, this is the third release, number 3. I picked this up recently. Dirt cheap whiskey exchange, and probably shouldn't be naming them, but I mean, we're firing this out. I think it was £40 a bottle, and I couldn't believe it when I poured this, how good this was. We, for a long time, liked Highland Park. Orkney was that island that's just, it was at that time, or that it still is, I suppose, 2 distilleries back in the day. There was another one, but I mean, it was just the fact that it was Highland Park, and we treated it a bit like Jura. We treated it a bit like other ones where we just said, look, stop firing out whiskies. Just, we've had enough. We don't know whether we like this whole thing with the bottle and all that there. We were all a bit indecisive about it. And then they started to do these. They started to fire out the cask strengths, and we started to pay attention again. This is young, beautiful cask strength, just desirable whiskey. I absolutely could not believe how good this stuff was. So that is my island choice. Good old classic Highland Park cask strength.
That's a solid pick, and I think I was and the little pop to finish it off. I think I was also in a Discord or a WhatsApp group where this bottle was being thrown around saying, you know, buy. It's gone down to a very, very good price for a very good bottle. I was sadly too late to the party, but yes, a strong contender. Vin, are you ready to show yourself?
I am.
All right, fire away.
Now, I'm a little bit annoyed at myself because when I was picking these, I didn't really, like I said a couple of times now, I didn't really think about the gravitas of what I was picking and whether it would be kind of put up against the chat and whatnot. So, truth be told, I did just have a little joke with Jeff in the chat to see if I could late change, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go with my original one. But if I had have thought about it, I probably would have hit the Lechake 18. But let's forget about that. Somebody else might have picked that. So we're going to go with my actual pick, which is the brand new-ish Torvaig Old Glane, and this is the batch strength at 61.1%. Now, you guys know, if you've been watching me for a while, I've got a real affinity with kind of newer distilleries. I really love the exploration. I love to see what new distilleries are going to try and do to break the mold or to fit in almost, if they're going to do that sort of thing. And this is one of those distilleries that are kind of doing a bit of both. They've got some interesting design choices. Like, a lot of people miss this, but the T, the gap here, the T on here, I think is pretty cool. Also a bit Mandalorian-esque. But this, considering its youth, I mean, it must be something like tops 3-4 years old. It's a really great addition to Skye and the islands in general. It's not breaking the mold too much. It's just about it's similar in there. It doesn't shy away from its youth too much. The batch strength on this is really exceptional. It's got quite a light colour. This is all bourbon casks, but it's just absolute pleasure to drink. I like cask strength whiskey. It might not be for everybody, but the fact that it's 61% doesn't bother my palate at all. It's just such easy drinking. And as I often say, I could probably lose a lot of brain cells to something like this. But I'm absolutely in love with Torre Vega at the moment, and I'm really excited to see as they kind of like move on towards their 10-year plan. They are planning a 10-year at the end of it all. So, while we're at it with that, perfect. I think absolutely brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I would have allowed the switch. I think I would have, but you chose in a very strong bottle. Torre Vega is tickling my pickle and then some. The Old Glen is like, just a beast. And I've got a sample. I think I'm halfway through a sample of the cask strength, and it's like high ABV, but it's also not. If that makes sense, it's like you feel it smack you in the chops, but then you kind of want more. But enough about my personal life. Roy, are you ready to fire away?
Yep, ready as I'll ever be.
All right, here goes.
Well, I started off tonight quite relaxed, but as the picks are going on, they're so high quality, right? I'm starting to get a wee bit nervous and edgy. And I think that what's happened here is quite interesting. Aaron Bothy, Highland Park cask strength, Torre Vega cask strength. Everybody's picked cask strength for the Islands pick. So I'm going to go back to Sertug, and he took the Aaron Bothy fantastic malt whiskey, the cask strength version of it. I'm going to take that and I'm going to add more to it. There will be people in the chat that suggests that I'm cheating a wee bit here, but I'll argue that in a second. Imagine taking what Aaron have been making for ages and slow down the fermentation. Imagine putting it in big, fat, dumpy stills and seeing what that does. We've been able to taste this liquid since it was 3 years old, and it was shocking how different it was, and it was shocking how unique it was when it first appeared on the scene. This is Isle of Arran's Lag. Specifically, I've gone core range on this one. This is the Komori edition, 46% ABV, and I've picked this because it's available everywhere. And I've also picked it because it's the cleanest, purest version of that malt that they are making there. It is like nothing else that exists right now. If we talk about worm tub distilleries and the sheer weight, the meatiness, the texture, the oiliness, and the things that worm tub can add, there are no worm tubs at Lag, and yet we have one of the thickest, oiliest, gloopiest malt whiskies that Scotland is making. The weight of this spirit is how I imagine they used to speak about Lagavulin back in the day. Well, we're not in that day, unfortunately, for Lagavulin anymore. And if we want to talk about design, hopefully the camera will focus. Can you see how the suggestion of the glass has picked up on this oiliness here? It really looks like thick coating whiskey of the liquid just by the glass design. And then the exact same thing repeats in the glass. Just need this to focus back on me, please. It's fabulous, fabulous stuff. What's the most fabulous thing about this unique whiskey? It's available everywhere now. In the UK, Aaron have managed to get this down to between 40 and 45 pounds. 48 pounds maybe, I think the retail is 49, something like that. Something of that order today. It's marvelous. I'm super excited that this malt whiskey has joined the parade, and I cannot wait to see what it brings in the future. If you've not tried Lag, get your hands on some and start to talk about texture and how important it is in whiskey. It's just absolutely fabulous.
Well, that's a pretty strong showing.
Lag's next brand ambassador there.
Well, actually, the ambassador has just moved on. Andy Bell's moved on, so I'm not interested in. He was far too hard working for anything that I'm interested in.
Right, so
the problem with having Roy on is that I forget that I'm on live stream and I feel like I'm watching the VPub.
I did notice.
What sort of glass would you have that in, Sertug?
Lag was my whiskey of the year 23. It's an incredible whiskey. I just don't have the bottle. That's why I didn't pick for it. But yeah, Absolutely.
I
I won't
can-
go for
how
more.
excited, because we know when you get a thick malt like that, when it's aged, that's why it's specifically why I picked the bourbon cask one as well. How excited are you for the future, right? It's just
Absolutely.
so amazing.
You could drink that out of a gutty slipper.
Wook has arrived. Wook has arrived.
Wook has arrived and bought our Jeff, hopefully a bottle of lag.
A serious
and,
bottle
and
of lag.
some.
Yeah, I'll bring that up. Work, and I think again, if everyone could join me, and just thank you to everyone who's become a member as well. So Stephen, Tim, Ginger Genius, and the Whiskey Enthusiast, and Work. Thank you all for supporting today, and I'm sure.
While there's 5 of us on, I'm sure we've all got 2 glasses together. Can we give Wook a little chime? I think he deserves it, or she deserves it. They deserve it.
They deserve it. Cheers. I'm sure that didn't sound too bad going out to everyone.
I think I might have to take the hosting of this back, though, gents. If Wook's going to turn up more and more.
This is your baby. I'll slip everyone €1. I will make it fair. Because it's you 4 who are carrying this roundtable, so I'm very grateful for you being here. As that is everyone, isn't it? I can publish the poll. There we go.
Oh, somebody wanted a reminder. If you want to do that,
if everyone could fly through, I'll let. So I'll start with you, Vin, because Jim's taking a sip.
I got the Torvaig, Alt Glen, cast strength, bat strength. Sorry,
Roy.
This is Isle of Arran's lag.
Sertug.
At the Aaron, Bothy, batch 3 of the old design.
And possibly the better design, but we won't talk about that now as much as I would love to. And Jim.
The Highland Park cast strength.
Well, some strong bottles. There's a lot of love for Torvaig. You got so Gabriel or Gabriel, however that's pronounced. Apologies for my awful pronunciation. As you can tell, I'm not very good at that. Loves Torvaig. Had the Alt Glen. That's an American bar, so that's great to see that it's getting out there. Because I know it could be easy to focus on your own region, so it's great to see whiskey in the world. Alan Smith, never noticed the tea design. I never spotted the Mandalorian connection bin, but now I won't be able to unsee that.
What do they call it in design? Is it negative space, isn't it?
It could be blank space, negative space, or depending how it's used, it's white space. But yeah, that technically.
Have you ever noticed the new Glenmorangie branding? Sorry, Glenlivet branding. Apologies.
No,
it's got the bridge on the label, the bridge that's on the estate. But from the space between the 2 labels is the bridge. I would grab one, but sorry to distract. But I think it's cool. Right. These little Easter eggs, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
In engineering, we call it a mass free zone.
Brilliant.
I'm pretty sure that's a superior from Incredibles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Frozen. Yeah.
We had 2 crackers, no pressure. So I'm guessing that's the first 2. I think this is possibly, in my view, one of the strongest lineups.
I will say it's pretty even.
Yeah, the islands are producing some incredible whiskey. This is why it always didn't sit terribly well with me that the SWA didn't technically accept them as a regional their own, because I mean, and I've just seen it mentioned there that Lechik didn't appear. I mean, what Tobermory are doing, we sometimes forget. It's just incredible that what they're producing in the islands.
Yeah, I think. Does anyone here want to dive into that and think is there an argument for islands to become an official region, or is it best islands just a region in our hearts?
Well, for the rules for this evening, no, it should just stay part of the Highlands. Why? Because, well, we'll wait until the poll's finished before I share why I think that.
Anthony,
if you just think about the sorry.
No, carry on.
I was gonna say, if you just think about the terroir, but what you can do about the peat. Peat from the sky is so different peat from the Orkneys, and peat from Mull takes it from the Highlands, and Aaron, and like, how are you gonna define a character? Yeah, there's a coastal issue there somewhere. But so does Islay, and so does the coastal malts like Old Pulteney and get Oban. So it will be hard. That's why regions are, I don't know, not anymore.
It's very much a blurred line, I think, with regions. I think in the early days, they're a helpful tool. I know when I first started, I was Speyside, and I knew Speyside was safe. And that was before I was gripped by a Lagavulin 16 and discover, I don't want to be safe drinking whiskey. I want to enjoy being shook and caressed at the same time. And it's, enough of that talk.
While you're talking about that, a quick shout out to a book that really helped me at the start, which is Blair Bowman's Pocket Guide to Whiskey, which is, it's not really kind of regionality, but what it does is connect flavor profiles across a thought process. So if you like this, you'll like this, and you'll like this, and you'll like this. And but that's exactly the kind of thing that you're talking about there. Like if you're going to hit the regions because of a flavor profile, it's probably not that helpful these days, but even 6, 7, 8 years ago, it was helpful. It was the regionality was quite pure. But if you're looking to break free or something like that, then that's the perfect guide to help you do that, to kind of like match flavor profiles across regions. But we're all about the exploration here between the five of us, I imagine.
Yeah. So please say that was a bottle from a book from Vinted.
No, I did. I bought that years ago when he first released it. It just seemed like I'm a big collector of books, whiskey books, so I enjoy having it. To be honest with you, these days I barely look at it because it's again, my knowledge base has kind of moved on from needing the tips. But at the start, it was really helpful.
No, that's awesome. I'll add that to my list to look out on Vinted to find it cheap. Or Music Magpies, where I often get my books secondhand. So we've got Anthony, a bit of a Glasgow 70/70 fanboy. I'm so in that boat. When we went October, November, we joined Glasgow Whisky Festival. I was so excited to do the blind tasting. I was so excited to do the festival. I was just excited for everything. But when I went into Glasgow Distillery, I could have felt like a little bit of pee go down my leg. I was that excited. Fortunately, I held my water, but I love their Malt Riot release. I think it's a 40% blended malt. And I'm easy. Like, I love the high cast strengths, and I also, like tonight, I thought I'll be very, very safe and gone for Redbreast 12, a remarkably non-Scotch region, a very fair choice and a very limp effort as well. But I do love the fact that it is limp. But back to whiskey. Justin saying, coming in strong. Tana Topak. I apologize if I've mispronounced that. I'm sure I have. A lot of love for Aaron. Can't go wrong with Aaron. Helen Andy, Lecheg 18. I was very surprised that no one said Lecheg.
I should have gone for it.
Sure.
I should have gone for it. I think it would. I mean, again, I wasn't aiming for the popular vote here. I was aiming for what I'm drinking right now.
I think a couple of us maybe avoided that, thinking that it would have been already picked. I think.
You've got Lee J supporting you, Jim, and I'm not sure why. Oh, I'm guessing it's relating to the bottle. Good to have you in, buddy.
He's a Highland.
Really wanted to. Have you paid off the Hallian Battalion to vote for you?
No, I'm not. Yes and no.
And then, of course, just to mention again, I'm just going through the starred comments. I'm trying to keep track with the highlighted comments over here and in StreamYard, which is what the service I'm using to show this. It doesn't show highlighted comments. I'm trying to star them as I go. Work ever so grateful. That's another bottle to get into my bank. So once YouTube pays me, I've got a list and I can start ticking off my list, and I'm sure it'll be possibly one of the bottles from this evening. So thank you so much. And a new Bottle Slap member. Now, can I pronounce this name? I'm sure I can't. If anyone has better ideas, Torgiren. I'll take that. Please do correct me and let me know. Message on like a video and let me know, or direct message me if you can, and I'll try correct myself in future. I have got a long list of where I is it phonetically? Just spell out the words how to say it. I'm not a bright man, as you guessed. So the boats are flying in. Did you want to do a guess the bottle quickly?
Let's do this.
Yeah, give it as much time as you can, Jeff, because I'm absolutely gutted by the result of this. Because the second, third, fourth is so unbelievably close that it's a crime that I'm only going to get 1 point for that.
I've not looked yet. I'm enjoying not looking. But you've given the game away, so I'll give you time. Let's do a guess the bottle. And have you not spotted something yet? There is a bit of a big.
Yes, it's the region that you've been doing it in. So the last one was the Lowlands.
I didn't notice that, to be fair.
I thought
I did, and still voted for Auburn.
Yes.
I did think you had it, and then when you threw Auburn out there, I was like, okay.
I just got excited. I like that bottle.
He's just here to have fun. I think I've got that Auburn. Is that the one with the octopus on it?
Yeah, it's black. It's the Night's Watch.
Yeah, the Night's Watch one.
It has
Yes.
the saying.
I was very much suckered in. Granted, I bought them when they went lower on price.
Yeah.
Because they release a huge batch of the Game of Thrones bottles.
Mate, don't open that Band-Aid on this stream, because that was a horrendous. I mean, perfect marketing, but an absolutely horrendous saga in the history of whiskey.
I don't know how great the marketing was, though, because I don't think. I mean, it's just Diageo Central. Everything ended up on discount. It's just get the pricing right at the start, and that should just be.
From my view, they kind of like they're really clever about putting out like what seemed like a really limited amount up front, and then creating that secondary market buzz, and then flooding the market with it afterwards when they realised that they'd pushed it too far, I think.
And then coming back with new designs, like the Mortlach wasn't even in the design original one. That came up, oh, we have this one now.
It's a real shame, because there were some really great whiskies in there, but it was an incredibly cynical release. And I will say as well, it was probably partway, a few percentages responsible for bringing so many people into whiskey fresh for COVID to come for us to all take. So, that White Walker video as part of that collection, I'll be eternally grateful for that, because I got something like 220,000 views on that video.
For the White Walker.
Yeah. But that is like, if only I could cover shit whiskey all the time and get that many views, that'd be fine. But that whole release kind of made me sort of angry, to be fair, because it wasn't for us really, was it?
I have to, to be fair, the prices when it arrived, for the most part, were pretty okay.
Yeah,
it was reasonably priced and things. I think no one at Diageo suggested it was going to be super scarce and super limited. I think that was us that did that. And I remember that people were going around distilleries and things in Scotland, Diageo distilleries, to pick up what they couldn't get online and things. But it only lasted for a few weeks, right, during lockdown, as you say, and then quickly everybody worked out that there was tons of this stuff, tons and tons and tons of it. Every airport was full of it. Every online retailer was full of it. So we just needed to be a bit patient. Did we learn a lesson from that? I'm not sure. Probably not. We didn't. Figure out what the bottle out turn is first before we beat each other up over our bottle chasing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to think we've learned a little bit about FOMO and stuff. It still happens, but I think it's calming down.
Because Rin said the remarkable FOMO word, has anyone got a bottle that they're currently battling with FOMO with? For me, it's the Ardnahoe. I've got 2 samples, so I'm going to do a review. I went for a bottle split with someone, and then Whiskey Liberation Front kindly sent me a sample as well. And I've had one, and I am very desperate to get that bottle. Has anyone else got a bit of FOMO on the go?
Shouldn't
I
be
bought
that
it.
Yeah, Jeff.
I got it.
It's beautiful, and I love it. My review drops for it tomorrow, and
I cannot fathom how they made such a good bottle of whiskey at 5 years old. Incredible.
They've done well. Fair play to them. FOMO's something that's never going to go away. I mean, as whiskey enthusiasts, that's what we're here technically doing. We can't help ourselves, especially while there's buggers like us about saying oh, this is good, you should try it.
Everything's amazing.
Yeah, we trust each other. Whiskey evangelism. What bollocks come up with that idea? You know, it's like and you know, when you hear when somebody says those words, this is stunning. You're buying into it whether you like it or not, almost. And generally you find that you love it because it's people, like-minded people who loved it. And there's a rare occasion that we find one that we go, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't get it. We generally.
And I think that it's more than just owning the next exciting bottle and things. I think because we come together as a community, I think there is a real value, and sometimes it's transient. It's not going to be here forever, but when there is that bottle that everybody's getting excited about at the same time, and it makes it this kind of really cool shared experience, despite the fact that we're all over the place, and we're kind of sharing it through social medias and direct messages and all of these kind of things. That's an exciting thing to be able to do. So, you know, when everybody's really excited about a specific bottle and you don't have it, it's just human nature that we feel a wee bit like missing out. But as time goes on in our journeys, we get better at managing that, I think. Although today I was on a video call with somebody ever so briefly in Portugal, and they lifted up a bottle of the Sunderland 5-year-old from Thompson Brothers that I've still not been able to track down a bottle of it. I will get it. And yeah, immediately I thought, oh, and all they wanted to do was rave about how good it was. So, yep. It's good.
Yeah, we're our own enemies here, aren't we? Because when we got something that we love, we want to shout about it, even if that's hindrance in us getting the bottle. It's
and when you're critiquing something, it's difficult. You've kind of got to be really, you've got to be sure of your conviction if you critique something. But when you're genuinely excited about something, it just comes very easily. And there's a lot of fun in sharing positivity, right? At least for me.
And I think we also agree there's a bit of fun sharing awful bottles like White Walker and telling people, you know, if this is your jam, good for you, but maybe try this and see how you feel about that. But enough chit chat. Let's get back to kicking off and dive in with. We didn't do this, did we?
No.
But I'm glad you're leaving the poll up long enough for me to have a chance of. I'm so close to.
Do people want me to end the poll now?
No.
I'm avoiding looking at
it. I can't come last again, guys.
I haven't seen the poll yet, so.
No, I've not checked out, but I'm guessing it sounds like a spicy one. Right.
It's very, very close. It's very close.
Image number 1. Easy. Anyone got the stones to jump out? I think everyone's learned their lesson. Let's go to image number 2, where I don't think it gets much better.
Highland Park.
I need specifics, I'm afraid to say.
I'm just going to go with 12 then. If you're going to,
So we've got one. Roy's locked in. Anyone want to join in the party?
That was one of the top.
I'm hearing murmurings, but I'm guessing no one's ready for it. So let's go for the next image.
My gorgeous
play the blinder here,
and I'm pouring another.
Highland Park 18, Jeff.
Oh, so we've got a Highland Park 12 and a Highland Park 18. I think.
Highland Park
who's
12,
not guessed?
I would say it's Highland Park 12.
We've got another 12, even though. You sure you don't want to guess for something? I know you've locked it in now. I can't change your mind. So this is down to you then. Are you going to clutch it at the last minute and everyone's wrong?
No, definitely not. I think that's the 12, but I'm going to go for the cast strength just to chuck in a different vote.
Cast strength. It's tactical. I like it. So it is the 12. So yeah, very quickly off the bat that was. You know, I do take a lot of time to put these images together. You could be patient.
Sorry,
you should have learned from when you tested it with me, Jeff, because it was the same then as well, wasn't it? I was like, bam, it's that.
I think it was the second image, and I thought it's the hardest quiz I've put together and you just, I can't remember what the bottle was, and you just nailed it in one. I was like, yeah, well, why did I spend so much time blurring images? Well, I think it's time now to bring the poll down. Let's end it and have a see. If this is getting too late for anyone on the stream, do let me know and I can speed up and get the last one in.
It's
got 2 more
half
to go.
past midnight for me, but all good.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for you powering through because I'm feeling tired here, and the time difference for you, you're putting in the work. All right, so the scores are in. Oh, it is close. Vin 20%, Roy 21, Jim 21, and taking the lead, Sertug with 36%. That's, when considering the other scores are so close, that's pretty.
Genuinely gutted about that.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah. Could you, if you four feel like talking amongst yourselves about this landslide victory, while I do some mild maths?
What are you going to do about Jim and Roy?
Yeah, I'm trying to work about. Do we both have 2 points each or 3 points each? Or
Oh yeah, because it's in a list for me. I was going to give Jim 3 and Roy 2.
Oh, you're going to leave it up to the YouTube gods.
Both get 2.
I just do what I generally do in these things and go, "What's happening?"
so we're joint third then. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Roy wants his third 3 points there, I think. Yeah.
Who knew it'll be the islands where it starts getting spicy?
I just want
to say I'll fall asleep at some point and get at the wheels. I don't care.
I'm pretty sure I have been on a stream with you and you've fallen asleep.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Vin, you came first on the last one, though, right?
Who?
Me.
Vin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I came last on every single other one so far.
Okay. Still another 2 categories, big guy.
I was going to say there's another 2 categories. What's this?
It's closer than you may think, but again, don't trust my maths. Feel free to go back on the replay and then message me at midnight saying what is wrong with you.
Well, if somebody shows up at the door with a sniper rifle, then I'll panic. It's not like as if it's going to.
Good luck getting down here into Bumpkinland and finding me.
Yeah,
I'm currently the only house with lights on.
Well, that's what I mean. If I lose, I don't care.
No, we're all winners. As someone else said.
I care if you lose, Jim.
So there is somebody going to show up with a sniper rifle. That's what
I'm concerned. He does know where I live. So someone's already questioning if YouTube maths ain't good. My maths, I've got no chance. Scott's saying it adds up to 98%. I think we'll allow YouTube. They don't know. They're only a small little company. They're trying their best.
Nobody badmouth YouTube.
It'll be about rounding, of course.
Yeah. Right. So we are now.
Which region?
We're going to Islay.
Islay.
So who started first time?
Last time, I think.
So we're back to you, Jim. Are you ready?
Always born ready, sir.
Okay. Let's do it.
I almost feel as if I don't need to say any words. Ardbeg, Ugadal. Classic, absolutely. Classic Islay. Classic. If you want peated malt, if you want that just good old-fashioned sherry cask bottled at, and going to have to struggle with my eyesight. Yes, cask strength, 54 point, whatever it is, that strength. Just that Ardbeg, to me, I know a lot of people talk about Colilla and Lagavulin and Lefroy, etc., all of the, and now we're on to Ardnahoe and the newer distilleries. Ardbeg were always, to me, the classic Islay, and the Ugadal was always the classic Ardbeg. There you go.
I wasn't ready for the end then.
That bow at the end just sealed the deal. It did. I was not ready for it to end. Oh, that's tickled me. You've done well there. And yeah, I think it was definitely, I know I'm just basing this on my experience, but when I really got into whiskey 2018, 2019, 2020, Ugadal was the bottle of, yes, this is the best. Ardbeg is like the cult for a reason, and the Ugadal is the one you need to get. Don't know if it's still as popular now. Maybe. I think there are multiple special releases that come out the gates once a week has diluted it a bit.
But that shouldn't take it away from their original core range. I mean, the fact that they release the Ardbeg committee releases, I don't buy. I'm a member of the Ardbeg committee, as I'm sure most of us are here, but we don't all buy the Ardbeg committee releases because we all know that they're just ridiculously too expensive. That core range is still a classic core range and it hasn't failed for me for years.
No, that's very strong defense of your point there.
I'm not going to argue with him.
I'm concerned. He's mentioned snipers a lot.
Yeah.
Vin, are you ready to reveal your pick?
Yes.
Fire away.
Okay, so Islay is an interesting one for me because as Jim just talked about there, with OB core range is still very prevalent over in Islay, and I've been doing my channel now for nearly 8 years. So, or was it nearly 9? I forget how many years I've been doing it for now. So I've covered a lot of them already, and I don't tend to buy bottles twice. Reason why I'm saying this today is because when I picked this bottle, I realised that it's the only OB Islay bottle I've got. I've got spades of independent bottles, spades of them, all kinds of Kalilas and all kinds of stuff going on. But I didn't want to pick any of those because that would be a tough sell to you guys, I think. So, as luck would have it, I've got a pretty good one. It is a Bunnahabhain 18-year-old. Now, I don't feel too bad about bringing this to you because when I got this, it was £100. It's not that anymore. It's 125, 130, which is a shame. Interesting thing about this is that so far today, all of my whiskies have been somewhat peat influenced, and this one kind of really isn't. However, in my glass, it stands out that so unbelievably. And obviously, going at the age of some of my things here, we're talking about 5 years, 4 years, maybe 6 at a push for some of these. 18 years. You just can't beat that sort of aging process, and I mean, would I buy it again? Is it going to be a real struggle at 125 quid? And as I said before, once I've covered it, I don't tend to buy bottles again. But yeah, I think I kind of lucked out a little bit by having this one on the shelf still. I don't know if you can see how much is left in that. It's about here. And when it's gone, it'll be gone. And I'll be very, very sad when that goes.
Wow. That's a very strong pick. You really had me sold, and then you started slandering it. And then when you, at the very end, you said you're not going to buy it. And then you pointed where the liquid level was. And I don't think anyone could see it. And I feel like you set yourself up. You were flying high and you got a little bit too close to the opaque bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually, truth to be told, I didn't buy this. It was a birthday present. And I mean, I can see through the light, I can see perfectly fine. So it beats the opaque tick for me. Because as you guys know, I really hate an opaque bottle. Unbelievably so. So, it's getting pricey is the big problem.
I think that's still a very good pick. Roy, are you ready?
Sure.
It feels a bit gladiator-esque, this. You will go on my first whistle.
Well, Jim touched upon ethics and integrity there, I think. And he's right that the core range from Ardbeg is still absolutely rock solid and very fairly priced, but they betray their philosophies and their ethics and their integrity elsewhere by overcharging for so many things. And I think that they've lost and betrayed a lot of their core fan base that continue to be frustrated by it. Listen, if we had to overpay from time to time, it would be fine if it was banging product. But when we're overpaying for something that doesn't deliver, it's difficult. All we need is for producers to deliver. Vin talked about he's got an integrity bottling there from a company that I do believe demonstrates ethics and integrity. However, he's already declared that you won't replace it. And that's a problem because what he's pointing at there is not ethics, it's price and overcharging. And that's Islay, malt, Scotch, whiskey seems to give everybody this license to just print these ridiculous prices and people will all turn up and just throw our money at them. And it's just becoming a nonsense. Then the newest distillery arrived on Islay the 9th distillery, Ardnahoe, and we were super nervous, especially the amount of money that they laid down. They looked at stainless steel fermentation vessels and wooden fermentation vessels. The more traditional, with the wooden ones, were far, far, far more expensive, and that's what they went for. They went for an all-access visitor experience that was going to cost them an absolute fortune, and that's what they went for. They went for the longest line arms in Scotland, and they connected them up to 2 worm tubs. All that they need to do is mature all their stuff on the island and maybe put in a floor maltings. There's not much, maybe direct fire stills or something. I don't know what else they have to do to declare how they're invested in the traditional Islay style. So we were nervous that they were going to come out with a product that was going to be expensive. And they didn't. They didn't. Ardnahoe have given a shot of adrenaline to the rest of the island of Islay by bringing out their inaugural bottling at a fair price, fully natural whiskey. 5-year age statement on their 50% ABV. They're putting on the label non-chill filtered. They're putting on the label natural colour. And as I look around the island, I mean, the only other one that consistently does that is Kilchoman, which was another one that was very close to me picking as well, that I would pick as well. But these guys deserve to be celebrated. Why? Everything I've talked about has been done. All that was left was for the whiskey to be good. It's the only thing that they had left to do. And they have kicked it out the park. I think every other producer that's responsible for a distillery on Islay should be looking at Ardnahoe right now and watching their success. If we speak loudly enough and celebrate this fantastic liquid enough, other people will get the message. We are tired of being overcharged. We are tired of your lack of transparency, and we're tired of your lack of ethics and integrity. These folks are showing us that it can be done, and it can be done fairly.
Well, a bit of slander going on for Vin.
I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go.
It was the fact. It was the fact that it
I bought an 18, Roy.
Whenever it came back, God help you, Sertug, because but anyway, it was the fact that whenever it came back, there was a quiet, like it announced that somebody had died. Nobody could say anything. We're all going, yeah, we know he's right.
I'm still waiting for my bottle to be delivered. It's sitting with a friend.
I might have overcooked it in my delivery, but every single word I meant, and I hope the passion came across.
No, you're right.
It did. It did.
Right. Well, no pressure. I'm sure you've got this there too. I'm sure you
All
can
right.
smash this out
Let's do this. Let's get this over with. Okay.
That's a better
Remember, focus on the glass.
Sertug.
You got this, buddy.
Bring it. All right. So for me, Islay means peat hit in the face. None of that, no disrespect, but none of that Port Charlotte Octomore thing where they get the mainland peat. I just want proper Islay peat to hit you in the face at cask strength. Not official, maybe, but near cask strength. And no sherry cask, nothing. Sorry, Jim. I'm at direct competition with you. This is an age-old versus, but I'm going to go with Corey Reckon. This is, for me, the best Islay. When you think about, it's hard for me to talk about best Islay now after Roy, but when you think about hitting you in the face with that strong, strong peat, this is what you want when you just want to get punched in the face. No fuss, no muss, just ex-bourbon barrels, a little bit of French oak, fantastic peat level, high ABV, and I'm pairing it with my Ardbeg glass. Simple, peat hit, just take it in the face and be happy with it. Cheers, guys.
Well, that's a very strong follow-up, I think. I think that definitely can go toe-to-toe. So Corey Becken, as on that label, is the ship breaking through the border box at the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as he said no peat, or sorry, no sherry, it was like he's gone with the Corey Bracken, hasn't he? And it was just like,
the classic, isn't it? Oogie versus Corey.
Yeah.
All right. So
not a bad choice. Not one bad choice in there.
No.
We all know that. that's the thing. That's
and you know what's amazing, Jim? Nobody put forward a banger of a Port Charlotte or Brookladdy or a killer Kilchoman. You know, there's so many things that's still available on that tiny island for us all to get excited about, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I thought the islands was the closest one, but I can see this one being a bit spicy.
I mean, I'm watching it go up and down. It's like watching Eurovision go nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's the next round table is Whiskey Eurovision.
I've genuinely opted in to not watching what's going on in the votes. I'm not voting myself. I'm not watching what's going on. But you know, you said it. We've all said it. The selection that's out there. What I have said it about Ardnahoe, they're not making a whiskey. That inaugural release was not made for consumers. It was made for whiskey enthusiasts, in my opinion. If it wasn't, then they've pretty fair play to them, because they've hit everybody in it. Because I cannot believe how good it was as an inaugural release.
And I think what you say, there's merit in what you say there, Jim, because of the way they've presented it and things. It's just all the boxes are ticked. They've left nothing unchecked. But I think I managed to taste it in the warehouse from that cask that they opened at 3 years old. I think it was maybe 3.5 years old when I managed to taste it, and it was gloriously tropical and fruity and a silver shining bright fruit. It was amazing. When that release came out, I was quite surprised that they'd added enough sherry in it to make it a bit richer, a bit deeper, some dimensions I didn't expect. So I think that's their way of making this product, especially at 50% ABV. It's ridiculously easy drinking. They've made it that bit more kind of open, wide market reaching, I think.
Well, what the other thing that they've done is said, you're not paying for our marketing. That's the bit that I looked at. I as soon as I saw it, I thought, there's nothing special looking about this. There's nothing that looks outstanding in the crowd about it. You know, it's the shape of the bottle, the branding on the bottle. It's a very simple box. So that I'm not paying their marketers. And that's what means an awful lot to me. That I'm paying for them. I'm paying for Ardnahoe. I'm paying a distillery who has just hemorrhaged money for 7 years to make me a whiskey.
And you know what else that they did that we haven't touched upon yet, which we have to doff our caps towards, is they brought enough of it out and got into enough markets from day one that we weren't beating each other up in shop queues for it, or hitting F5 on the refresh button. They were like, relax, this is our inaugural, but we want everybody to try it. We're proud of this thing. And there's enough of it out there that people are opening it.
Yeah.
How many inaugurals get opened and shouted about? None. So how much effort do you need to put into your inaugural if you know nobody's going to drink it? None.
But it's a Scotch whiskey thing. I see it from a point of view, and I know we're straying off the subject here. I see it from the point of view from an Irish market. If that happened in Ireland, that would have came in a great big fancy box with 2 glasses and would be 5 times the price. And nobody would ever have drank it. It would just have went to the secondary market.
While there are people willing
to
indulge
drinking, it was made for us to try it, for us to drink it. I applaud them.
And I have seen a couple of bottles have made it to auction, and I can only imagine they're going to go under RRP unless they're not aware that the bottle is still available in some places.
Well, there are some markets that it's not going to reach, or it hasn't reached yet. And buying at auction does allow people to get their hands on it. And you would imagine that that's something that we've got to support, because if we do evangelize about these new products and somebody in some far-flung corner of the world that isn't serviced yet can get it quicker by SWA, any of the international shipping auction houses, then you can understand that that's an avenue for them. So, but it'd be interesting to see what happens there, Jeff. You're absolutely right.
Now, with all that said, it's good, but it's not as good as our big Goodall.
Well, I think the reason is I think that I'll come a cropper here, maybe a wee bit like Vin did, perhaps on the Torrevieck, because in order for us to win the popular vote here, we need to be talking about whiskies that people have tried, right? Most, I would imagine. You know, they're not just going to believe us that these are bangers, right?
Yeah, Tobias raises the same point. Your storytelling has everything, but if it's a bottle that people have not had in their hands, it's a hard battle to sell. But
well, Tobias and I just need to have a wee trust hug.
There does
All I
seem
will
to be
say is there's a review coming for it tomorrow for the the new one,
Ardnahoe.
the Hardnahoe. And
is it
that
coming
review
from a wee Northern Irishman?
will come with an offer of what you should try as a as an alternative.
I am seeing a lot of love for the Corey record. Is it Corey?
Corey Vracken.
I reckon.
Yeah.
It's a whirlpool, basically. And just to explain it to you, just
Yeah. No, I'm grateful. I'm not the best with words. It's one that I've always looked at because lots of people say it's like the equivalent of Ugadar. So it'd be interesting to see where this one goes. But lots of people seem to be on the side of the Corey.
Yeah, so that's the thing. As we said earlier, the Oogie is the sherry cask. That sherry cask, hint, the Corey Vracken's all bourbon cask. So it's
yeah, it's
let's see.
I prefer the Corey, to be fair, out of them. But I mean, I'm looking at the results now. You would not believe the results genuinely.
Well, you're very much lured. We've got, I guess, the bottle to get through first, Finn.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm liking your teasing. And James is bringing a good point. Wow. No Port Charlotte 10. And I think if someone picked that, you had the win. Because it's a bottle lots of people have tried. It's a good ABV, well presented, and it is just a banging whiskey. So I think that.
But I think it's our job to bring as much variety to the folks as possible and not just go down the path well trodden. So
absolutely.
Yeah, have you been like listening into my conversations, right? You're ready with everything. It's brilliant.
I am your Padawan, Jeff. I am your Padawan.
Have you got a little rat tail behind you? Like I'm showing my love for
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
I wish I had the hair for such a thing. Come on.
I believe you could do it. Sugar Kitty Kilhoman again. Yep, so Kilhoman is just fantastic, and I say it's, for me, it's a lot more. I would put that in the category of islands instead of Islay. It's the peat definitely doesn't have that. When I think of Islay whiskey, I'm thinking of either the fishy plasters of Lagavulin or the gut punch smoke of Ardbeg. Well, I find Kilhoman for me is that lighter, saltier, fresher, chalkier juice. And yeah, I think Kilhoman could have been my pick. We've also got Whiskey Molly, Bowmore No Corners to Hide 22-year-old, best Islay whiskey. So I've heard lots of amazing things about the fancy Bowmores, but I think it's well noted that the core range is a bit slated.
A bit. It's an affront. The whiskey that's made at Bowmore it's legendary, and the official bottlings that come out, whether it's the non-age statement, whether it's the 12, whether it's the 15, the 18, it's not even a pale imitation. It just, you would believe it's made somewhere else and shipped. It's terrible. It's an affront.
I'm guessing it's a
very close. I love Bowmore. I love it.
They just, it's quite simple. The way I see it with Bowmore is that they slot in the core range slots in with Dalmore and Macallan. We just don't touch it. That's the way I look at it. It's not worth buying. It's for somebody that's not us.
Yeah.
If you ever,
That's
if
a really,
you ever,
really
if
valid
you ever
thing as
taste
well.
the liquid that's made there, it's so for us.
Mm.
I don't know what happens from cask to bottle, but it's broken.
Mm.
Sorry.
It was.
That's go on.
It's a really good thing that that Jim raises there as well. Something I've been thinking a lot about recently is that we're, as enthusiasts, we're in this kind of like this bubble, which is really cool and really, really, really great. But there's this kind of like an illusion that all whiskey has to be for us at all times. And it's just not. It's not true. We're kind of this middle ground. This is expensive, horrendous. Like where bottles are going for millions of pounds. That's not for us. And then there's the real base market stuff. The £12 to £20 stuff. That's not for us either. And it's okay that people make those bottles, and it's okay that they're out there and that people are buying them. So it's something I've been trying to think about a lot recently. Is it really?
Yeah, I don't think it's okay to strip all the texture out of gorgeous liquid and then dose it with caramel colorant. Has anyone ever seen caramel colorant up close? Sertug, have you ever seen caramel colorant? What it is?
It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
I've used fake tan a few times in my day, so it seems pretty similar.
Right, this is sitting on its side. Can you see a line here? This is a clear bottle, and it's been sitting on its side forever. And if I turn it up this way, look at how long it would potentially take to get down. I've tasted this, and I think I could taste it for a week, 10 days after I tasted it. It was on the end of a cocktail stick. It's this stuff. This stuff is what makes our not naturally coloured whiskies dark. And it's chemically produced spirit caramel. This is not just caramelizing sugar. This isn't natural sugars this is chemically produced. It is horrendous that this can be in our products that we consume, and we are not told about it.
I think the most important follow-up question, Sertug, what glass would that go in?
The smallest one possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What glass will be forever tainted by
On
that?
a petri dish with a little bit. Honestly, I don't think I could have tasted caramel coloring, but I did try the Loch Do, and yeah, that was it. I said, I know this taste.
Yeah, I think you can build it for whiskies that have been abused in such a way. You do build up a taste for it, and also there's a texture thing that happens as well where things are flattened. It's an emulsifier, so you can detect it as well.
Right, so let's quickly follow that up with, I guess, the bottle, because I'm really want to see what the results are for this one, because in my head I thought I knew who the winner would be, but it doesn't sound like it's going that way. So is everyone ready?
Bring it on.
Any early takers? I think it's all playing tactically here. I think.
Poor Charlotte, 10-year-old.
So we've gotten straight in with a PC10, and that's in the chat as well.
That's a Bunna 12.
It's definitely been a habit.
That is the Bunna stamp. Yeah, no, look at it. It's just a fact.
You go.
I'm going 12.
Jim, PC12, Vin, Bunna 12. Roy, did you say a name?
I said Bunnahabhain. I'll hold my water for the expression. I'll play the game.
The final two.
It's an old one, isn't it?
I think we got to take the image with a pinch of salt because I was very limited to the ones I could find offline. And I think by the time I got to this, it was midnight last night. So we're going to move on again. I think it's the other way.
12. The standard 12.
So it's a subtle hint. So who had that?
Vin.
So Vin again.
You were a victim of your own choices there, though, because you've gone for like the relative, not the entry age statement on all of them. I think pretty much, or like you had the a very early one anyway, at least of all of
I
them.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a good test as well to see if you need to go to Specsavers, because Vin's getting these very quickly. So does every bottle look like this to you?
I've got one in front of me, haven't I? So I saw the little crest.
Yeah. The little ridge.
Yeah.
Stamp. Well, with that, I'm going to stop the poll, stop the vote, and give it a minute to let it think. Okay, that is tight.
Yeah. Passion and
So
integrity.
tight.
So easily dismissed.
Is that a slice of bitterness? Did anyone else just
It hurts
taste that?
being last, doesn't it, Roy? It hurts being last.
Yeah, it does. It's smart.
How do you all feel about how that result's gone? Is that how you thought it would?
No, I thought the curry would be higher, to be honest. I've always preferred the curry
Why
over
am
the
I not
Yugi.
seeing the poll?
You got to crank it up a bit, Jim.
I always find Ugidal gets more votes than Corey.
I can tell you the winners now, Jim, so you don't need to see the poll. So Roy with his Aho 5, 20%. Sertug with our Bear Corey at 22%. Vin with the Booner 18 at 24%. And then you, I think you are seeing the poll. You just wanted me to read it out. So you coming in top at 32. All right, so I've added on Jim's. I should have done this in a much smarter way. I'm guessing you're all keeping track of your own scores, yeah?
Absolutely not.
No.
I did not come here to work.
It's this game.
gonna make
the scores is... Go on.
It's going to make a great podcast. That's all I could say.
Yeah, just ignore this dead space while I do basic arithmetic.
I mean, you can edit out the.
Oh, I mean, it's like you haven't watched my channel at all, Roy.
So Roy came last. That's easy. 1. Right. Well, that was a very, very strong lineup, and we're going into. Oh, where's my mouse?
Again, no losers. No losers. I can't wait to try my Idaho 5. Genuinely, I'm waiting for it, and I haven't tried it yet. So it's
I'm gonna wait until the day that video goes live, and this live stream will come back, and Vin will just comment saying, "Yeah, it's trash."
It's not going to be trash, is it? It's not going to be trash.
Roy, get in the bin.
There is a danger that we oversell things, though, right, Jim?
Exactly. I was just thinking that. I mean, but I can honestly say it's the first time that I bought a whiskey waiting for it. Not, I mean, even past Ardent American, and I've been so pleasantly surprised. I remember watching you go onto the island, Roy, to see what was going on there, and I remember you and I discussing. You were there, I was here. You and I discussing how we had the same cushions on our sofa. It was weird conversations, and just you were there. I was over here, but it was the fact that we've watched that, we've nurtured that a bit ourselves. That's what I feel about it, and they've fulfilled.
I feel like they gave the whiskey every chance that they could within the restrictions they were working with in terms of warehouse planning and all of that kind of thing. But they did everything that they could to give it the best shot, and all it needed was for the whiskey to be good in the end. Shout out to the team there. Shout out to Fraser Hughes, the distillery manager, and his team. They've just, whoever put the whiskey together, I don't know who blended the whiskey together, but it's just a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to quickly say, Whiskey Molly, thank you for that, Ben. Very kind of you. I'll tell you what, I really regret picking Redbreast 12 for my dram of the night.
Have you only had the one dram, Jeff? What the?
Yeah, it was a large pour I done. I thought, yeah, that would easily go, but the more I'm drinking it, the less I'm enjoying it, and hearing all this talk, especially the Islay ones, and I want to get on that peak train now. But we are now going to Funky Town, and that is who was the person to go first last time?
Me.
So it's me. It's my turn now.
Yep. So Ben, we're starting with you, and I believe do I give you assistance?
You do give me assistance.
I do, but I may have got it wrong. So
you may have got it wrong.
I'll flash first, and then I'll let you go second. Okay, so that's what I had for your pick, but I believe it's wrong, so I'll let you
Well, I think this was my
Fire
fault
away.
because when I picked this for you, I just fired across the Goldrons, and I probably should have clarified that I meant class strength for sure. But anyway, the reason why. So, okay, Campbeltown is a real challenge for me. As you might have noticed, I don't have a Campbeltown in my collection right now. It's been a long time since I've managed to kind of find these things passively, and it just seems to be an absolute fight to get something like, your Springbanks and your Kilkerrans and all that lot. They're just going so quickly. Obviously, there are some other choices. Glen Scotia tends to be fairly available these days, but it's just not something that I've come across regularly without any extra effort. And that's kind of what my whiskey journey is. It's not about putting effort in. It's about just seeing what I find, basically. So I don't have any at the moment. Now, one of the things that I thought about when I was doing this, I could have gone down the road of let's get Springbank, whatever. Jeff's going to throw up whatever picture. It's not going to cost me any money. I didn't want to go down that road. One of the best whiskies I tried from Campbeltown was the Douglas Lang Goldrons cast strength version. Now, these are readily available to a certain extent. They come and go, but they're just a blend of various different proportions from wherever. They don't actually tell us, I don't think, but it's not really that too difficult to figure out what they've picked from where, I guess, which is a shame because they are usually transparent about these things. Maybe you can dig a little bit deeper and find out. But yeah, the Douglas Lang blend of the Goldrons, the cast strength version is stunning. Genuinely don't think many people will vote for this, to be honest, but it's well worth trying. If you're into a punt, the standard release one, I'm looking now, is like less than 40 quid, and the special release cast strength is only £46. So again, well within my wheelhouse of affordable whiskies, when you're not really willing to go fighting for whiskey like we have to seem to do a lot. But that's my piece on that one. I guess some of the other guys will probably bring to you some of the things I've been talking about there, but a nice blend from a well-trusted independent bottler. Can't go wrong, I don't think. Oh, there he goes. He's waiting for it. That's not your pick, is it?
Hey,
that would be a mess.
I haven't opened this, so I'm excited to hear you raving about it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe how good a price it was. It was sub £50, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's good to hear that it's a good one, Vin.
You're muted, Jeff.
Muted.
Come on, mate.
Aye.
Come on, Jeff. Hey, Zeus.
Forget this.
Grow up, yeah.
It looked really important what you were saying as well. You were very like...
I was just swearing at you. I knew I was muted. I'm just like, come on, guys. Yeah, it was a very good point I made, and from that we'll move on. Roy, are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, the floor is yours.
I've kind of gone down a similar road as my buddy Vin. I think he's picked. I think the Wee Town. I've just back from the Campbeltown Festival. Amazing, an amazing place, making amazing whiskies. 3 distilleries there now, but very soon, if Witchburn goes ahead, Dalriata goes ahead, Machrihanish goes ahead, they'll double in distillery count in the next couple of years. It's quite incredible, and that's because of the fervour there is for Campbeltown malt whiskey. Springbank is driving that. The quality, the integrity, that really, really kind of stubborn, sticking to their guns over the years has proved fruitful for them. They're the favourite distillery in Scotland, not just by a small margin, but a huge margin. So it makes it very difficult to get a hold of their product. And as Vin pointed out, Glen Scotia is doing a good job of making better whiskey every year that passes. It's getting better and better, and most of it is available most of the time. But there is a product available from the Springbank producers that we can get almost all the time. And it's very difficult. This is a game, and I don't want to just play to the game in order to get the votes. I want to really hold up whiskey that people can get a hold of and people can actually taste what Campbeltown is about. And this is that whiskey. The majority of the malt in this these days is Kilkerran, but this is a blended malt. So you've got some Springbank in there too, whether that's produced in the Hazelburn style, triple distilled Springbank, 2.4 times distilled style, or Longrow double distilled, but obviously fully worm tub, condensed and heavily peated. Campbeltown Loch It's crept up a wee bit in price. People are after it now, but it's still the most accessible, the best priced, all fully natural. Of course, it's from Jane A. Mitchell. It has to be natural. Available everywhere, most of the time, whiskey that comes from this town that can give you that taste of why everybody loves Campbeltown whiskey. If you see the difference in colour here, we'll see that we can really celebrate the fact that it's natural, because the only difference between these two whiskies, one is very dark, one is much lighter, is just different batches. The lighter one is a much earlier batch. People seem to be really vibing for this darker batch, for the darker style, but the one I'm going to pour is my favourite, which is the really quite mineralic, earlier style, really coastal in style. I don't know if you pay more than £40 for this. When it first appeared, it was 32, 34. It might have crept up closer to 40 now, but it's fully natural, real, honest Campbeltown whiskey, and we can just go out there and buy it. And I'm grateful to have it. Cheers.
Well, so that's two blends starting it off.
No. 2 blended malts.
Sorry.
All malt.
2 blended malts. I'll leave now. So how... Because I've heard, the latest batches are all Kilkerran. Well, not all Kilkerran, but predominantly Kilkerran. My question is why? Because Kilkerran still... Surely they'll be better doing more of a mix. Obviously, it's a great whiskey. I'm a big fan of it, and I've got the darker one.
Well, if the majority of the blend is Kilkerran, and I already suggested that, let's be honest, it's anecdotal. Somebody said and we said, and then we repeated, and that kind of thing. But it kind of makes sense because Kilkerran there's probably more availability from Kilkerran to make something. What Jane A. Mitchell are trying to do with this is to try and get product out there at a drinking price. And Kilkerran lends itself to that more than Hazelburn, Springbank, or Long Row. Just to 260,000 litres is what Springbank is making over 3 brands. It's nuts tiny. It's really, really small. And Kilkerran is probably, I think, and don't quote me on this, I think there is more Kilkerran made, but Kilkerran still only runs for 3 months of the year. Still only running for 3 months of the year. Things are going to change in the future. There's so much demand for it. But right now, in order for them to put drinking priced liquid out there, I think they lean on Kilkerran, and that's right up my street because I bloody love Glengyle, and Kilkerran is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very much on the Kilkerran train. That would be my pick, but it's not about me. Caston saying, made a comparison of very early and later darker batches. Preferred the brighter, which is one you've got in the glass. And there's that, I could be pernickety here and say, Roy, is that the one you're putting forward? Is the lighter batch?
No,
even though batches have not.
No, honestly, if I'm recommending Campbeltown Loch to anyone, it doesn't matter which one's on the shelf. Just take it. Just take it. It's fantastic whiskey. If you're going to go out searching on secondary or search the shops or whatever, then if your palate aligns with mine, you're probably going to be the same as Karsten there. But don't worry, it's fantastic liquid.
Wow, on that one, Sertug, are you ready to break the? I can't remember what people have picked now, but I believe you're breaking the trend.
Well, whoever, whether it's Jim or Sertug that's picked the Springbank, take the 4 points.
No comment. Fire away, buddy.
Right. For Campbeltown, very easy to pick. Springbank 10, beautiful. Both, Goldrins I'm not very connected with, but Campbeltown Loch, absolutely love it. But I went with favorite of the Oswas, Scotia Victoriana, especially this one. The new one, the label change is good, but I don't think it's as good as this one. The new one has more ABV, but this one feels much more rugged. For some reason, it just works better. It's supposed to represent that Victorian style of malts with heavily charred oak and I don't know, it just feels one of those whiskeys that when you have it, it fulfills every need you have. The ruggedness, the bourbon cast, the wood smell, the burnt notes. I absolutely love this one. And yeah, as the final pairing, I paired it with a little Victorian sipping glass. I thought this video would be like a I need to sell you these things, so I had the salesperson persona. But yeah, I'm happy with my choice on this one, and fantastic choices of you guys as well. So cheers.
Well, I think that's a very strong and a very well liked pick, and a very dainty glass to match it. I finally, all this talk, I have gone for a Campbeltown whiskey now, and finally, but I won't show because I don't want to skew any results or any opinions. So, Jim? Are you ready to round us out?
Yes.
Fire away.
Can I first off just say to all of the guys who are competing here tonight, I thank you, but I'm so glad from Sertug to say, because I felt a little guilty that Glen Scotia didn't get a mention there until Sertug said that. And Victoriana would have been the one that I would have suggested. My pick, and it was already mentioned, probably the classic Springbank 10, and it is Springbank 10. I fell in love with this whiskey very early on in my journey, and in the end I discovered how hard it was to get, and it's just it saddens me that there aren't more people in the world can enjoy this whiskey. That's the sad thing about it. What is it about it? Why? What is it that just makes it so special? And that's always the question about it. That it's just whiskey, isn't it? It's just Scotch whiskey. It's just, well, first of all, we're not paying the marketeers here. We're not paying for somebody to put millions of pounds into marketing. Look at it. That's not me having a pop at them. That's just me saying they haven't spent money on marketing. It's about the flavor of the whiskey, and it's about everything. It's about everything that it does. Like it or not, it's one of those whiskies that every time I smell it, I taste it, it makes me smile. It's got everything going on there. It's got everything that I want from a Scotch whiskey. And that's why Springbank 10, it's probably my favorite Scotch whiskey ever. And they don't fail. So there you go.
Well, I think we all kind of saw that coming. The poll, for better or for worse, the poll is now live. Get your votes in. It is currently, my tally could be very, very wrong, but currently there's there could be a tie. It's very tight for first and second, and it's very tight for third and fourth.
There's no chance there's going to be any kind of closeness to this result whatsoever. I think I've already put my vote in for what will be the inevitable winner. I cannot believe, Jim, when you submitted your picks to Jeff and he came back and he said, yeah, you can have that. I bet you couldn't believe your
I must have been first.
Well, no, because I don't think he came back to. Well, he didn't come back to me. I didn't try to.
No, there was no duplicates at all. Throughout everyone coming back, there was a couple of times where there was talk and it was close. But yeah, in the actual submitted list, there's no duplicates.
Have we just let Springbank 10 slide a bit, or what is the, but I don't know. I just still love it.
Well, I mean, I think that maybe a lot of us kind of always have to kind of caveat and weave in the availability discussion. But that's not the problem because Springbank are making any less of it or anything. It's 10 years ago they had to make it in order for it to be available today. So that the idea that they're not making enough of it, it's, to build up demand for is just nonsense.
Well, we'll see. It might not be the winner. It could be. Well, we won't worry about talking about that now. Should we fly in to another guess the bottle? Let's lighten the mood a bit.
Bragging rights.
The competitiveness, I feel like, is starting to kick in. Right, slide number 1. There we go, easy.
Springbank. I'll go with 10.
This is like being at the opticians and going, no, that's not. Hold on a minute.
Well, it's got a very
Springbank neck.
Yeah.
I'm going to chuck out a Kilkerran 8 on that one, just because. Why not?
Nice.
I will say it could help you. It's a bit late in the game to say this, but if you view it at a smaller size or further away, it is easier to see. There you go. It does make a bit of a pumpkin face there.
That's somehow harder.
It could be long rule. It could be. I'm not saying anything.
So we've got Roy. You've locked in, haven't you? With
I've locked out now.
Has anyone else? You have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kilkerran 8. Right. This could be this is where I think you'll know.
Oh,
come on!
Surely that's the Hazelburn 10-year-old.
Are you locking that in?
Yeah, why not?
He said it. He said it.
I've noticed every screenshot has made a bit of a face so far. So you got 2 eyes and white nose and a mouth.
Oh yeah.
And this one, you can tell it's being a late night stream. This one.
Tenuous, Jeff.
Yeah. So there we go. I think this is
there you go.
So who's
are we going to make Sertug decide which one it is, though?
Oh, yeah, he can write it out if he wants. He's welcome to write it out. Did you want to punt now or go for the next one?
My mind goes to 16, but
okay, does this change anyone's mind? And you're locked in now, but does this change?
Mind? Lock it in.
It's got to be the 12.
Okay. Oh, 12.
Oh, Jeff, you bitch.
But he's gone for entry level throughout the whole theme. So.
Yeah. I tried to be the ones that as many people possibly would have chance to get. So I thought if I go to the cheapest and the younger side. So there was a slight pattern to the madness, but I think everyone, as long as you enjoyed that, there's no prizes. There's a bit of bragging rights. But I think that's given enough time to be shaken by the poll results.
Just whoever pity voted me, then thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Was that yourself? Please say that was yourself.
Absolutely. No, this time, to be fair, I genuinely think the Victoriano was the best dram there. I mean, the Springbank 10, sure, but I haven't owned a bottle of Springbank in probably 5 years because it's just I just can't bother to fight for it.
Glen Scotia don't get thought of enough.
Yeah,
I'm slightly concerned about what's happening in Campbeltown, in that it's one of the most inaccessible parts of Scotland to open a distillery. I just look at it and think, what's the point? The point is because Campbeltown, that's literally the point. Oh, look how well Springbank, Glengyle, Glen Scotia are doing. To open, surely it's not a good. This is the bit that I'm struggling with. Surely it's not a good financial, forward-looking experience. I'm just throwing words out here to put a distillery on Campbeltown. I know I know there's quite a few of them are now looking at doing it, but to me, just from where it's positioned, it's not. It just doesn't make sense.
Jim, I think a lot of things that happens in whiskey doesn't make sense. I think so much of it is driven by passion. Maybe if somebody's coming in just to build a distillery there, just because they want that Campbeltown on the label, I can understand the cynicism, but I get the impression that the people that are building distilleries there have fallen in love with whiskey through the liquid that comes from Campbeltown. And I don't care. Do I care? No, I don't. I think I want whatever these far-flung, really remote communities, whatever can instill life in them for the present and the medium term and the long-term future and things. It's just, embrace it, I suppose. I think it's right to ask those questions. I think it's right to wonder about these things, Jim. I think you're spot on. If it's a passion project, there's a good chance it'll produce good liquid and ironically end up being something that the world celebrates, rather than just being another also ran. So I hope it's that. But to see wealth and prosperity in a really remote community like Campbeltown, it's fortifying for the soul. It's a good thing.
Well, I think on that very uplifting finale, before
I should have made it a bit more uplifting than that, right? change my tone a bit and make it, it's amazing. Because it genuinely is. It's really amazing. But
yes,
buy your property
now. So I don't think there's been a bad bottle. So I put together everyone's list. There's probably an image wrong or something. So feel free to yell at me. But I don't think a single bad bottle was put together. So it'd have been better if I thought about it and put everyone's bottle together. So like Jim, Vin's, Sertug and Roy's Highland selection together would have made more sense. But as a snapshot of each person, I don't think there's any bad picks out of any of them.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yes, it's a very strong lineup. The lag bottle just looks like a pear to me. But this ain't about the design. So do you want me to announce the winner?
Do you have a guess?
It's a lot closer than I think it is. And before I throw it out, so this is what I would have picked.
No.
Ooh, wow.
I step in there and say, Jeff, you actually, that's a bloody good selection. Saying it straight away. And one of them was the Deanston, was Highland. I would straight away. Deanston would have been nice. I'm surprised that nobody picked Deanston.
Yes, but like the Deanston 18, because it's still like, was it 70 quid? You can get it for still.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So
So I
much
did.
choice.
I think every person's bottles were a pretty bang selection. I think so. We'll start with a runner-up in fourth place with a very respectable. The numbers could be very wrong. Feel free to correct me, but a very respectable 11 is Vin with a very strong lineup. I don't think you can argue that lineup at all.
I played for me.
And that's all you can do. Yeah. I think you may have been let down by not enough people have tried him, like with the Micheltor, the Glen, that one, and the Glasgow 7070. Oh, and the Torabeg, to be fair. You did go for the less trodden bottles, and you can only be respected for that. And followed with 14 points. So a very close gap is the one and only Sertug with a very, see if I can find his collection. A very good list.
Thank you.
I even managed to get the old Aaron bottle of the Boffey. Is it now?
Yes.
Is the Boffey still exist? Does it still exist, or is it just called Quarter Cask now?
No,
They still call it the Boffey, don't they?
Yeah, there's still a cast strength Aaron out there. Yep, today.
I was hunting for an image of the new version of the Boffey and I couldn't find it. But again, this was gone midnight last night, so I'm sure it's right in front of my eyes. So a very strong lineup there.
Well, it may just be the quarter cast now. You might be right. It's 56.2. So they might have
don't
dropped,
call it the Bosky.
they might have dropped the whole bothy thing, but this is still the, in my mind, this is still the bothy, right? So maybe it's just the quarter cast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go.
So surprisingly close until the last round. It was, when I worked at the scores, there's 1 point in it, and then the last round kind of changed the outcome. So in second, but there's no winners or losers here, but one of the losers, the winning loser, Roy, coming in with a very respectful 15. Which one's your slide? There you go. So I don't think anyone can argue with any of them. If only there was Dream to Dram there, and then I would have given you my money. But it is.
Well, there's some more evangelizing to do, it seems.
Well, and then the man who's very pleased with himself, and he is still awake, the rightful winner.
Can't do shirts off. I just
It takes a bit more effort.
all of that hurt.
You'll be paying for that move all week.
Yep. Yeah.
With a very healthy 19 points, Mr. Whiskey Novice himself, Jim.
But I didn't expect. That's not mine. Come on.
There you
Know
go.
that. There you go.
I'm only speaking for the whiskey. The wider, that's the easier choice. That's the way I look at it. There we go. I'm not gonna say too much more than that. It's the easy choice.
Well, we're all winners. That's the ultimate loser
Exactly.
talk. And on that, I just want to say thank you all for joining me and indulging me and doing this content for me.
Thank you.
So I think
Thank
that's
you
a
for
good
having
time.
us. Cheers.
Cheers to you all.
Cheers.
I'm going to bump you onto
you.
the background. If you feel free to hang around, and I'll talk to you after. But I'm very grateful.
thanks
I'm very
everyone for
aware it's
joining.
very late.
Magic.
And I'll talk to you all in a minute. Thank
This
you.
isn't late for Roy. Roy's got another 2 hours left.
He's just started. And
Cheers,
poor
guys.
Sertug's well and truly ready for bed. I'll talk to you in a second. Cheers, all.
Cheers, mate.
So thank you all for joining me. Thank you to everyone who became a Bottle Slap member. Thank you for Wook for the very generous donation. Thank you for Whiskey and Molly for gifting 10 bottle slappers, giving them the right to the emojis. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know I had a great time, and I do feel remarkably lazy. It was brilliant fun. Hopefully this is a great addition to the WhiskyTube Roundtables. Every video has been different, and I would certainly recommend, if you've not seen any of the other ones, to go back and watch it. If you think this one's good, this is the 5th one. The 4 before might be a bit better. But I think all that's left to say is thank you all ever so much for joining. Thank you all for getting involved. Cheers to my wonderful guests. Cheers to you, and cheers to the next one.